and you're watching to the Black Eagles podcast, a Beşiktaş talk show.
İşaret geldi. Ricardo Quaresma! Ricardo Quaresma! Ricardo Quaresma! İyi nokta. Kafalar! Quaresma ortayı yaptı. Sekti. Gol! Gol! Gol! Gol! Gol! Gol! Maç boyunca durdu, şimdi attı. Abubakar attı. Abubakar.
Well, that was the wrong intro, I just realized. That was the UEFA Europa League intro. Hello, Black Eagles. Welcome back to the Black Eagles podcast. I hope you're all having a great day. Probably not the greatest day, of course, because we're coming off of a 1-1 draw away at Antalyaspor in the first match of the little runt. I'll just call him that. But yeah, a 1-1 draw. And as Eric commented in the live chat already, seems it wasn't all fixed in 5 minutes. I think we all knew that wasn't going to be the case. But coming off of a fantastic performance midweek against Athletic Club de Bilbao, I think our expectations were probably a little bit higher. Personally, I would have been happy if we've gotten away with an ugly 1-0 win, which it was looking like it was going to be, until unfortunately a little bit of a slip up at the back. Bakhtiar Zaynutdinov not looking great there, having come on for Emirhan Topçu earlier in the game, and a decent finish, you have to say, from the Antalyaspor player, although I do also think that Mert could have done better to cover his short corner. But let's have a talk about the game, but more so afterwards I want to talk about the Cengiz Ünder transfer rumors that have popped up today and are exploding really, and it looks like it's going to potentially happen. Let's talk about that, but we're going to put that on the back burner for a while. First, I'm going to introduce my co-hosts, Sinan Schwarting from New York City, the ambassador, as we like to call him, and Kartal Oor from Glasgow, Scotland, our Eagle boy. That's going to stick, Kartal. And I would like to say welcome to all the new subscribers. We had a bunch of you this week. 2 of our videos really exploded this week. Well, exploded is a relative term, of course, but relative to the size of our channel, our Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Erling Mo video with Egil Sande, the Norwegian journalist from RNK, did really, really well. And then, of course, I did a reaction video to a famous YouTuber who went to all 3 of the matches last week, Togden, I believe his name was, and he went to Galatasaray, Kiev, he went to Beşiktaş Athletic Club, and then he went to Fenerbahçe against Lyon on Thursday, and he ranked the stadiums, the atmospheres, and all that kind of stuff. And I did a reaction video to it. There were some funny moments, I thought, when a Galatasaray fan was asked who has the best atmosphere, and he just shamelessly said Galatasaray, and I couldn't help but rolling my eyes. But thank you.
Real quick. Did you see those comments about the volume?
The volume. What's wrong?
Apparently, they're saying you are turned up too high, which maybe you're doubled up. You know, like we were doing once upon a time.
No, my volume is normal. Are you hearing me double, guys, or what's the problem exactly? Is it just too high?
I didn't say it's double, Can. To me, your voice isn't coming as clear as it normally does.
Okay.
Yeah, no, for us, we always hear. It seems like on our end, we always hear a clean version.
Oh,
it's not clear. It's not as clear as usual, Can. It's a bit muffled.
Okay, are you hearing me better now then?
Oh, it's the same, bro.
It's the
It
same.
sounds kind of. I guess now that you mention it, yeah, it sounds like you're hitting the high end feed, like of volume wise.
Well, it seems, yeah.
I mean, it sounds all right on my end, but I guess
I don't know.
I do hear a little
It's
bit
not.
of
It's
that.
not bad, but it's like normally your voice is crystal clear. It's just like it's a bit
And maybe
muffled,
maybe it doesn't, and it may, maybe they're hearing something.
I'll have a look in my settings in a second because it might be the new camera microphone being picked up.
Oh,
that is
yeah,
a possibility.
That's it.
But on Skype, you guys should be hearing my microphone, and that should be fine. My big microphone.
Skype, it doesn't sound so bad. It doesn't sound bad.
The guys on Skype should be hearing this. It's possible that you're hearing that, so I'm gonna look into that in a second.
It's kind of trippy, but the microphone head is like not being picked up by the background thing. So
it's the fake background. So I'm just holding that. I'm just holding
like
something random.
Oh, now it shows up. It's like
okay. Anyway, thank you all very much for subscribing. Of course, to our regulars, of course, thank you very much for all the support as well. Don't forget, if you're new, to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. If you're watching on delay, do the same as well, please, because that really helps out a lot with the algorithm. I'm going to hand my microphone over to Sinan, and then you can start giving us the thoughts a little bit on this game before we start going into these transfer rumors stuff, and I'll let you speak, because actually, little caveat, I was unable to watch live on Sunday because I was visiting my little goddaughter. We were supposed to go on the 4th of January, but due to circumstances weren't able to go, so we had to go yesterday. So I was unable to watch the game, so I was following it nervously on my phone, 0-0, and then finally 1-0 late in the game. I thought, okay, it's in the bag. I quickly grabbed my phone to watch the goal, and then a few minutes later I saw 1-1, and I was like, oh no, I couldn't believe it. Anyway,
I think it's even worse to receive it like that. It's like mysterious, and like you're not quite, and you're like probably for a moment hoping it'll get taken off.
Oh yeah, I tuned in straight away, and like the camera was like panned on the referee, so I was like, oh, maybe they're watching it, maybe they'll disallow it. Anyway, I'll let you give your thoughts, and I'm gonna have a look into this here.
So I had the great fortune of watching this match twice. And I this might be like a broken record for folks who have been listening to this podcast for years, because I think I've said this before, but it came on beIN USA before as a replay later on in the evening here in New York, and I always feel like it's like a better viewing to watch a match a second time. The first time you watch it, you don't know what's going to happen. You're stressed out. Oh my God, we missed this opportunity, or oh, I can't believe that pass was so bad. I thought something was going to happen. I mean, you're more emotionally invested. So watching the second time, knowing the results, knowing how this was all going to shake out, I could really kind of, I think, slightly more objectively take in what I was watching. And it's not common that I do that for. Sorry if anyone hears those noises in the background. I don't know what that is. But yeah. Okay. It's for a game where you don't win it, you don't typically want to rewatch a match like this. But I don't know. For me, just given the new coach and all of the interesting subplots with this team, I thought, all right, I'll watch this again. I mean, I always turn it on just to kind of like give it ratings. Not that it's gonna help much, if any. But my one viewing, but. My takeaway from watching it a second time was that this match wasn't nearly as bad as it had seemed the first time I'd watched it. In that, and one of the things I was really surprised by the second time I watched it is actually how many balls Al-Musrati and even Jedson and Masuaku and some others were actually getting up pretty well. And it was, for the most part, and I didn't think Rashica or Semi had bad matches when I watched it the first time, because they had these moments of brilliance, Semi dribbling it the whole way down and then taking that shot that was blocked by a defender, and then the header. Rashica had a few kind of neat things where he brought the ball down and like got rid of it quickly. And obviously he was fantastic against Athletic Club Bilbao. But despite those moments of brilliance, what I really came away from the second viewing was what I came away from the viewing with was that it wasn't as dire as I had initially thought. Like, we were kind of controlling the tempo for the most part, and we should have been able to produce a lot more. And the main reason we didn't create more chances wasn't that we were too timid or whatever. Like whatever I had thought after the first viewing, it was mostly that Rashica and Semi were kind of screwing up a lot. they were getting the ball. We were kind of taking control easily, getting it to them. Sometimes very well. Like Al-Musrati had some beautiful passes, even in that first half, which threw me off because I thought we were terrible the first time I watched it. And it was just Rashica trying to do step overs and losing the ball. Semi kind of, getting past two men and then passing it into a crowd or losing it. There was a lot of chances that should have been, and that was difficult. That was annoying.
Yeah.
It was difficult to watch.
Did you have the same feeling when watching it for the first time then, Katal? By the way, switched microphone. How does this sound?
You sound great to me.
That's from
Let's see how the others feel about it.
That's the camera microphone you're hearing right now.
Robotic.
Sorry?
It sounds a bit robotic.
Oh, that sounds robotic. Okay.
And see, your usual setup's crystal clear, so I don't know what's happened.
I don't know. It's I just switched to the camera now because.
Oh yeah, you're right, Kartal. Man, you have a good ear for this stuff, Kartal.
I'll have to. Maybe it's my internet connection or something.
I'm 26. You guys are in.
Oh.
Ouch! I didn't need that right there. Not today. No, I'm kidding. Especially because I have some experience with audio engineering and stuff too. So you'd think I would have an ear for this type of stuff, but I don't know. I guess with the internet, it's always a little bit up and down. By the way, people in the chat are saying it's much better, Khan. So
yeah, so that's good, man. But to be honest, Khan was asking my thoughts of it, watching it once. I'm not a sadist like Sinan. I wasn't going to sit through that second time.
A masochist.
But no, it was.
I could be a sadomasochist. You could bring them both in if you were.
The sadist is the one that likes to inflict the pain. The masochist is the one that enjoys it.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't know that.
That's something I've learned today. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Sadomasochism. That's anyway.
Oh,
I
those
can't
are the
believe
two
you guys
sides.
didn't know this. I learned this in school.
It's funny for the viewers. Me and Sinan's native language is English.
Yeah, kind of teaching us lessons here.
Giving it an English lesson.
It's to be fair, it's the same in Dutch, because in Dutch it's sadomasochisme, so sadomasochism. It's literally the same.
In my defense, in the United States, we have this very puritanical view of education for kids. So the idea that Khan learned about the Marquis de Sade in grade school is blasphemy. In Florida, you'd probably be hung by your toes upside down.
I thought you were gonna say, in my defense, I don't have a sex engine.
All
right, let's keep it PG. We don't know if there's any kids among those 200 new subscribers we got this week. So
That's right.
Let's keep it a little civil.
Anyway, we'll get back to the game. From the one time I watched it, I thought it was shit, to be honest. We were better in the second half.
Yeah.
Which one of the commenters pointed out we were, because we controlled the ball better. We held it better, because in the first half we kind of struggled at holding the ball, I felt. In the second half we held it better. Was the performance good? Still wasn't. We lack creativity. It's just plain and simple. We lack that ability to play that last pass.
Yeah, and how much do you guys think that the lineup, I'll bring that up now, the lineup was, I wouldn't say experimental, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did make two key changes. He took out Ciro Immobile for Semi, but I think more importantly, he put Oxlade-Chamberlain in for Mucci. And Mucci, I think we all agreed, was, together probably with Rafa, the best man on the pitch on Wednesday. And taking him out was an interesting move, to say the least, right? And maybe that played a part in that.
Yeah, I think so. Mucci did come on later on and he didn't do much, but I suppose it's different when you start a game and different when you come on, or different the circumstances. So maybe if he was in from the start, it could have been different. But I can't really blame the coach. He's maybe been wanting to rest a couple of players before the huge game Thursday. So I can't really blame the coach too much for wanting to try something else. Chamberlain was a fucking ghost, man.
He was. try to think of a nice way to say that. Yeah.
When did he come off?
A phantom of the opera.
Did he come off at halftime, or did he come off in the second half?
Came off in the second half, bro. I'll get the exact minute up now.
57.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll do these lineups. I'll do the lineups. Let's get
do the lineups.
And as always, I'll do our rival first over on Antalya. Oh, nice, man. My wife messaged me right as I'm trying to read these. 30-year-old Bosnian in goal, Kenan Piric for our rival, or not really our rival, our opponent. On their back line, some recognizable names and faces, perhaps. 36-year-old Turk Veysel Sarı, who played next to Bahadır Öztürk, 29-year-old, obviously also Turkish. On the left side of their defense, 36-year-old Turk Güray Vural, also very recognizable for anyone who's been watching this league for a while. And of course, on the right side, 24-year-old Turk Bunyamin Balcı, who we were linked to in the last window. Guess that one died out.
That's right.
In their midfield, 22-year-old Polishman Jakub Kaluzinski. Polishman? Is there a Polak? Is that derogatory?
I think Polak is more like race or something. Like
is that like ethnicity? Maybe
ethnicity. That's not race. Ethnicity exactly.
I don't want to wind up Evron if he's watching. Next to him in the midfield, 28-year-old North Macedonian Erdal Rakip. I thought he was Turkish. On the right side of their midfield,
scored,
31.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Sadly.
It was him.
Sadly. Right midfielder for them, Sander van de Streek, 31-year-old Dutchman. And on the left side, a name that anyone who was watching yesterday probably dislikes pretty profoundly today. 26-year-old left midfielder from Mali, Musa Djenepo. Was a real flopper and like whiner at the same time. So he was flopping all the time, but then also, dirty, like committing lots of fouls. Yeah, just a bad individual, bad human being. No, maybe that's a little broad. 31-year-old Swedish striker up top for them, Sam Larsson. I guess they have him as a 10 on the one you're showing me. Fatmop has them in a 4-4-2. And of course up top, Brian Samudio, 29-year-old Paraguayan, who's been in the league for a few years now.
Both are more attacking midfielders, so no real out-and-out striker. That's interesting.
Yeah, perhaps that's what confused Fatmop. But yeah, that Djenepo guy was a real pain in our ass yesterday. And not like with anything he was doing on the pitch, like with the ball, more just flapping around and fouling people and, whining about calls, but then also whining about not getting calls. I mean, just petulant, childish type, which we see all the time. I mean, every match there's like someone out there like that. Anyway, on our side, there's Mert Günok in goal, Felix Udukai, the King, Felix. Next to Emirhan Topçu. On the right side, of course, Jonas Svensson. On the left side, Arthur Masuaku. In our midfield, Al-Musrati next to Jedson Fernandez. And in front of them, Rafa Silva in the number 10, restored to his rightful role. And then here's where things get a little funny. Not on the right side, you'd expect to see Rashid's up there. But on the left side, you see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. 31-year-old, you guys have already talked about it, Englishman. It's interesting. Fatmop lists him as a left wing positionally.
He used to be when he was a kid. I mean, when he was young, before he started getting loads of injuries, he used to play out on the wing. But then he got like morphed into a central midfielder as he got a little older. I think was it Southampton or Sunderland? I forget. I always confuse these two. Cathal, do you remember if it's Southampton or Sunderland where he started out before he went to Arsenal?
He started in Southampton and then he went to Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then he became a mid at Liverpool.
Yeah. Under Klopp, I think he became more of a midfielder. It might have been Brian Rodgers. I don't remember exactly when he went to Arsenal, but yeah.
No, he went to Liverpool in 2017, so Klopp had already been there 2 years at that point.
Yeah, okay. So it was Klopp who put him in the midfield then.
Well, anyway, guys, one last little surprise, of course. Up top, our striker was Semi Kilichsoy, not Ciro Immobile, although you would imagine that Ciro, most of all, would be someone who'd need to be rested for our match on Thursday against Twente. So at least that's what I had chalked that up to. What did you guys think? What did you guys think about that lineup?
Don't really have much thoughts on it, to be honest. He tried a bit of rotation.
You know, he's a new coach, right? So he needs to see all the players, I feel like, and seeing them in training is one thing, but I think you need to see them in a match. And as you pointed out earlier, Sinan, like coming on as a sub isn't the same as starting. And I think probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just wanted to see what Oxlade-Chamberlain could bring if he started, what Simi could bring if he started. I didn't like the lineup necessarily. I thought Mucci should always have started, but the more important game is on Thursday, so it's understandable he rested a couple of players, I guess.
Yeah, you can recover from this result, but you can't recover from a loss of points. So, well, a draw might be enough. Well, you certainly can't recover from a loss on Thursday, so that's why, obviously, the game on Thursday being prioritised is normal.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I mean, we need to be realistic. Like, in the competition, our goal is get to Europe next season. But it's not like another draw here. Right now, it's not yet crunch time for us. This is not... It's unfortunate because it halts your momentum a little bit that you built on Wednesday. But it's not the end of the world for us. We're not in the middle of a title race or anything like that. So this shouldn't leave like lasting, bad feelings. This isn't like the Gaziantep, the Gaziantep game when we were still fully in the race at that point, and then you lose points in the last minute. Then it hurts. Here, of course, it is also painful, but it feels a little bit less.
Yeah, at this point, we're numb, man. So.
Yeah. Hey, shall we dive right into the stats, guys? Let's like.
Yeah, I wanted to because
get this match out of the way.
Yeah,
so to speak.
But before I'm not saying
before
we do that, Sian, the lineup. Just a second. There's two guys that came off injured. Svensson came off injured, and Onur came on, and then I believe Emirhan came off injured as well, and that's why Bakhtia was playing. And so that has repercussions, of course, on Thursday. Because we have a lot of injuries already at the central defensive position. So hopefully, I don't know. Have you guys heard anything about Svensson and Emirhan's conditions? What did Ole say anything after the game? Whether they would be able to play? Whether it was a precaution? Did any of you pick anything up like that?
Nothing's been said.
Yeah, so we'll have to cross our fingers and hope that they'll be fit on Thursday and not just playing with injections or something, because that's not ideal in a game like that where a lot will be on the line for both teams. So it'll be a very intense, important match on Thursday. But yeah, let's get to those statistics. I thought, before you guys start though, I thought something was really interesting. We got 2 yellow cards. I watched both those positions. Both were wrong, and both are now suspended for our next game. Al-Musrati and Rafa Silva. So those are 2 important players, especially Rafa, that will be missing in the next game. Our next match is, I believe, away at Sivasspor, because I think we have a bye week. Or am I wrong, Kaftal?
No, that's correct.
You're right.
We've got week, so we play Sivas away.
So we'll be missing Rafa Silva and Al-Musrati away at Sivas in 2 weeks in the league. They could have planned this bye week worse, by the way. Like, you should have given us now, so we wouldn't have to have played this. Actually, interesting note: the Dutch FA decided Ajax, Twente, and was it Feyenoord? I don't remember. I think the Dutch clubs that are in Europe aren't playing this weekend. So they're all being allowed to rest for their important European matches. But all 3 the big Turkish clubs have also important European matches, and we didn't get rest. And that's unfortunate, I think, because maybe Svensson and Emirhan could have used that rest.
Clearly, those two. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to these stats so we can get back to our faces. Yeah. So the reason I wanted to do these stats sooner than usual in proceedings was because I think they can kind of flavor how we analyze the match a little bit. So of course we dominated. We led possession, and I think we had higher possession figures at one point, and then we went up a goal. They started sort of trying to do more naturally. But we ended with 54% of the ball to their 46. We had an XG of 1.13 to their 0.6. They had we had 8 shots to their 6. Both of us had 3 shots on target. We had 2 big chances to their 1. And 1 missed to their 0. We completed 398 passes, so we're back up to the 400s just about. Completed at an 83% rate. They completed 322 at a 78% rate. They committed 18 fouls. We only committed 9. And that's in stark relief to what Khan was already saying. They only got 1 yellow card. We got 2, even though, once again, they committed 18 fouls to our 9. Twice as many. So we got twice as many yellow cards, even though they committed twice as many fouls, which is interesting. We were offsides 4 times, and I'm going to guess that Semi Kılıçsoy was offsides, at least 3 of them. And they were offsides once. That's what I was talking about with that first half, too. Like, a number of should have been chances were not, and Semi being offsides prevented 2 of them, I think, at least in that first half. We had 5 corners to their 1, so we were kind of on their end of the field, knocking more than they were. By that statistic, of course, it's not exactly 100% accurate there, but Cargill, how about them duels?
I saw we nearly scored on one of the corners in the first half with Semi's header hitting the bar.
Yeah, he could have done better with that header. As close as he was, I was sort of impressed, especially again on the second watching, because how well placed that corner was onto his head. He didn't really have to. It wasn't like he was under it or anything like that. I mean, he had full power on that header, and full placement. He could have put it on target. Yeah.
I mean, I just want to allude to something here. See, it says 2 big chances. Do you think the 2 big chances, one of them's that header? Because apart from the goal and that header, I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah, there's the disallowed goal, but that's obviously not going to count.
Yes, think of another chance.
I'm trying to think, because I was actually trying to think. There were a number of half chances, but
those aren't going to count though, right?
It's got to be.
Or...
It's got to be a header. I mean, I guess it was really. It was right in the penalty box, perfectly put onto his head. He'd hardly even jumped for it.
Yeah, he should. I mean, but that's one of those things Semi really has to work on. Other than his runs, is his heading game. I think if he wants to make it with the big boys, I think that's an aspect of his game that he's gonna have to improve. And obviously, he's not the type of striker that's gonna score you a ton of headers every season. But that doesn't mean that your headers can be good still. I mean, if you remember Pablo Bataja or Alex de Souza, those were both small players, but they still had good heading ability. So Sim definitely needs to improve that, and hopefully Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can help him with that, because it's one of the things that he helped Erling Haaland with in his career. So let's hope he can do the same for Simi.
Kartal, do you remember the ball that Semi took down the right side, and he it looked like he'd lost it, but then he kind of used his speed to get around the guy, and then again it looked like he lost it, and then he cut in, and again used his speed really well and his kind of positioning, and then in the end just took a shot, and it was blocked by a defender. It was in the box, but and at the end of the day, the header and that were off target, So I'm trying to think of what else that big chance might have been.
Yeah, it has to have been the header, I think.
It's got to be at least one of those two.
There's I mean, I'm just looking at the shots we took. Emirhan Topçu had a header from pretty close as well.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I don't really remember it fully. I didn't bother watching the highlights again.
I didn't watch the highlights either. I probably should have. Even I figured, having seen this freaking match twice. But yeah, no, I mean, there was a lot of action in the second half too.
Yeah, there was a header from Emirhan Topçu. Maybe it's that it was saved by the keeper.
Could be if it's saved.
And I can think of the semi-header as well. So maybe it's one of the two.
But I think we can conclude that we're back to 2 big chances per game and not 7 big chances per game like against Athletic Club. So this is just, again, not good enough in terms of chance creation. And this match perhaps highlighted again that we are in need of new transfers, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But let's get to these duels first, Kartal.
Yeah, so it was 57 for Antalya to 65 for us. We won 53%. Ground duels were 50-50, 47 apiece. Aerial duels, they won 10, we won 18, so we won 64% of them, which is impressive. Successful dribbles, they completed 10, which was at a 48% success rate. So that indicated that they tried 21 dribbles. We completed 7 at a 44% success rate. So that suggests that we maybe tried 16 dribbles throughout the game. 1 yellow card for them, as Sinan said. They had double the fouls, which is crazy that we had double the yellow cards, and both of them are phantom yellow cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that
one especially.
The
Al-Musrati one, I remember him turning around and like shrugging, and I was doing the same thing. I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Did he say something?" Like and you kind of doubt that because it's not really his personality.
He literally didn't even come anywhere near the player, and like he got booked for essentially stepping on the guy's foot, but like his foot was like 40 centimeters away from the guy's foot, or like half a meter or something. Like he literally just stepped on the grass and got booked. The Rafa one, I understand that the referee falls for it because the player acts like Rafa stepped on his foot and is rolling around in agony. In the replay, it's clear that Rafa did no such thing. That was just the Antalyaspor player being an absolute dipshit and trying to get Rafa booked on purpose.
This is something I said yesterday after this happened, and I want to bring this to you guys. Like, I feel like this rule is something that requires nuance, and you see some refs do it, but there are, like, obviously if you step on someone's foot, you have to give that a little bit of, you have to put eyes on that, make sure you're looking at it carefully. But some refs kind of automatically give a yellow card. Oh, you stepped on his foot, yellow card. And some refs, apply a little nuance, and I think you have to, because I mean, it's a contact sport. B, it's a sport where you get 11 players on both sides running all over the place. There's always the possibility. There's always the possibility that like you're moving, they're moving, someone's foot like lands first, the other one, and it's natural, and there's nothing deliberate about it or aggressive at all. And I feel like I mean, some refs have no ability to apply nuance to those situations, and I think that's not the way the rule is intended. Am I right in saying that?
I mean, honestly, I think they shouldn't. This yellow card shouldn't become a VAR thing or anything. But I do think that VAR should be able to just tell him in his ear, "Hey, there was no contact. Cancel the yellow," something like that. It shouldn't be something that referees go over to the screen for. But I do think that when it's this apparent. And I feel like we've had a lot of these really silly yellow cards this season. And then if you look at Galatasaray's games, it's ridiculous. I don't know if you guys caught. I mean, I'm sure if you're on Twitter or something, I know you're not Sinan anymore, but like this, there's literally this position in the Galatasaray game on Friday, I guess, where their new transfer, I forget his name now, the bald guy from Anatalyaspor that we were linked to. With the
Ahmed Kutucu.
Ahmed Kutucu. So he's on a yellow card already, and he makes a very blatant yellow card in the second half and just doesn't get it. Like, no card. Like, he just full on grabs his opponent and stops him, and ref just ignores it. And like same game, of course. Lucas Torreira, every game he should probably get 2 to 3 yellow cards. Doesn't get a yellow card. He has 2 yellow cards all season. And this Rafa Silva and Rafa in recent weeks actually had a couple of falls where he should have gotten booked for. But like in general, like if Rafa has 4 cards and Al-Musrati have 4 cards already, and Masuaku had 4 cards already, and Sven, we have had so many yellow card suspensions already, and somehow, arguably the dirtiest player in the league, Lucas Torreira, has 2 yellow cards all season. It's just mind blowing. I don't understand. Like I think even Galatasaray fans who are a little bit nuanced will tell you, yeah, he probably should have gotten at least 1 yellow card suspension already this season. It's ridiculous. And that's what I take exception with in this game as well. I mean, I didn't watch it, but just watching back these positions, it's like how easily they pull the cards against us. It's so easy. They just whoop. And against Galatasaray, it's like they're always they have like they're wearing like a diaper under their referee shorts. It's already filled to the brim with shit. And they can't add more to it, but like it's just dripping down their legs, man. Every time a Galatasaray player makes a fall, Jesus, it's ridiculous.
This metaphor is getting graphic.
Yeah.
Let's do some comments. Let's
do some comments.
Here. We got a lot today. Whoa, I just lost them. Okay. Back to the top. So Jason mentions that we have 600 subscribers. Let's get to 1K. He says, let's get to 1K. Thank you very
much, everyone. Our goal this year, really, we started off the year at 398, and we had been stagnant for quite a while. And our goal this year was reaching 500, and we completely and utterly obliterated that goal already. So thank you very much for subscribing.
Yeah.
And
shouts.
What's the new goal then? Once a goal's been met, what's the new goal? 1,000?
1,000.
Gotta hit 1K now, yeah. That's it.
That's the new goal.
A few more coach hirings, and maybe we'll get them. I'm kidding. Hopefully there's no more coach hirings.
Let's hire a couple of interesting, under-the-radar players that we can find experts on, so we can interview them, and people have a valid reason to come and discover our channel, like they did with the...
Ole does really well. We might just attract more and more of the Man U fan base. That's it.
You know what? Right. Actually, Gato, I have the impression that the vast majority of people that subscribed are not all of them. Obviously, there's gonna be some Man U supporters. There's gonna be some Norwegian fans that want to follow Ole. But I have the impression that the majority of the names that came up were almost all Turkish.
Yeah, interesting.
We have a bunch
of Turkish Man U fans. No, I'm kidding.
We have a bunch of new people on Patreon as well, like a bunch of new free subscribers who I guess subscribed, signed up to Patreon to gain access to the WhatsApp group. But oddly enough, only a couple of them have joined so far. So if you have signed up to our Patreon to join the WhatsApp group, go and do that. Yeah,
someone just joined the WhatsApp group and didn't announce themselves. So.
Sometimes people like to wait it out a little bit, see what's what before they introduce themselves, you know.
If you're listening and you're that person, announce yourself. We want to know who you are. Anyway, let's get back to the comments. We have Mustafa Gedik, new name in the chat. Welcome, sir. Long-time listener, first-time commenter, maybe. He says, I hope Cengiz's transfer will be canceled. And for folks who are commenting for the first time, I do correct your English as I edit your posts, your comments. So if you're listening, take notes. I'm kidding.
Hate comments below.
Yeah, I'm gonna get like grammar Nazi comments now. Mustafa Gedik, yes, I think we all agree with you, sir. Cengiz Ünder. I mean, what do you guys think? I'll let you guys say something first before I say something.
I'll let Kartal go.
Kartal.
I was looking at the analytics on the YouTube channel. What was the comment?
What do you? Someone says that they hope that Cengiz Ünder's transfer is cancelled.
Yeah, hopefully, man, because it doesn't make any sense. Huge money for 1.5 years in terms of wages.
How
For a
much
guy-
money? I didn't even know. Is there a financial figure?
Yeah, so I think it's like 3.2 million a year in wages.
No, it's what's being
Hey,
reported
you're
right
peeking
now.
again, Kata. You're
Actually,
like
you know what?
peeking under the.
Yeah, you are peeking, Kata. But let's have a look actually at what Jai Sabunjol is writing about this.
What? I think it's maybe it's 3 million because I think it's 1.5 over the first 6 months.
What I've read so far was 1.8 for 6 months and 3.5 in total for 1.5 years. But then some other places are saying 4 million. So it's like,
That's crazy.
you know,
No thanks.
It's a disgusting amount of money for a player that's chronically injured and has hardly kicked a ball in the last year and a half.
oh, that's the wrong page. Sorry. Let's have a look here. I have something prepped.
Whoa, look at you, Khan, with the graphics.
So Jais Sabunjoğlu here says Fenerbahçe ve Beşiktaş Cengiz Ünder'in kiralık transferi için anlaşmaya vardı. Beşiktaş Cengiz Ünder ile görüşecek. So he says there's an agreement between Fener and Beşiktaş for the loan transfer of Cengiz Ünder and that Cengiz and Beşiktaş are still discussing. I can have a look at some other posts. I know there's some posts from Capital Records who had some other ones. Let's have a look at what they're writing right now. So they have this Cengiz Ünder post.
Oh man, they've already got the graphic.
Yeah, Cengiz Ünder'in satın alma opsiyonu 6 milyon olacak. So 6 million buyout option. 22 minutes ago this was posted. And that's a quote from Sercan Dikme.
Oh, it's a dick bomb.
I mean, Cengiz is 27 now, so by the time this option comes up, he'll be 29-ish. So that's 6 million. I mean, it's good to have the option, right? But it's a lot of money, of course. Let's see what this says. That is something unrelated to volleyball. Well, I'm just scrolling through. I figured I'd make a little scroll window for you guys.
I didn't even know you could do that. Oh, I thought you had like
could do lots of fancy stuff. This is something else, by the way. Our good friend Can Keleş, who we were all super keen on at the beginning of the season, he has signed a 6-month loan deal with Kasımpaşa. But I'm just trying to see if there's anything else interesting on here. But yeah, let's call it 3.5, 4 million for 1.5 years. I think that's a significant money investment. But on the other end of the spectrum, I think if you would have said last summer Cengiz Ünder is coming to Beşiktaş before he went to Fener, I think that would have been a lot of people would have been very excited. I would probably not have been so excited because we know from our good friend Evran, who trained for a while or worked with a while with a former teammate of Cengiz, Christian Fuchs. He worked with Christian Fuchs in the US, I believe. And Christian Fuchs said about Cengiz that he's, I think, something along the lines of the laziest player he's ever come across. And also an incredible crybaby. Cengiz Ünder is probably the type of player that'll stub his toe and miss the next 3 matches. So, Cengiz Ünder, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most talented Turkish players of his generation. I mean, we've seen that both for the national team and at club level. Did fantastic.
Time out. I need a red card. Red card for you, Jason. That is, I do not tolerate. He just wrote, I don't understand with the Ünder, like Cengiz Ünder. Why we no, Jason, no. That pun is off limits. You're not even a dad, man. No. Sorry.
Have to have a kid to make those types of jokes.
You do not have a license to dad joke. Yeah, get out of here with that. No.
I mean, look, Cengiz Ünder is clearly a very, very good player when he wants to be and on his day. The problem isn't his age. The problem isn't his ability. The problem is his mentality and his injury proneness. And I'm calling it injury proneness because
you think he's just a softie.
Huh? I don't even know if he's really that injury prone. He might just be one of those players that doesn't feel like training and calls in sick. Or says I fell down the stairs. No, of course, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a big fan of the move necessarily. I think there's a lot.
We
of
definitely
money
need wingers, you know. I mean, if he's like
we do need wingers, but I think
the money,
3.5.
Yeah, the money is
$3.5 million, 4 million, let's call it 4 over 1.5 year. On top of that, you're gonna have to pay 6 million in transfer fee. Who knows what type of money he's gonna be demanding then? Because you have to keep in mind, officially, this guy makes 4.2 million a year at Fener. So if you're gonna buy him, let's say he does really well for 6 months or for 18 months, and then you're gonna want to buy him permanently from Fener. This is
Does he press up high? Does he put in the effort?
I mean, what do you think?
I mean,
I'm guessing no, right? Well, so are we not, in a way, I mean, granted, it's obviously not the scale of it, but you know how Solskjaer brought in, or they brought in Cristiano Ronaldo for him, and he didn't match the profile. He wasn't kind of willing to press up high. I mean, I forced him to change his tactics. Obviously, it's a much lower scale of that, given we don't have to cater to this kid's needs to the same extent, but still, like, aren't we kind of just bringing in a player who doesn't really match the profile that he wants? It's not even just tactically speaking, which is already a concern. But what about his like Solskjaer likes guys who try hard and practice like the Nordic.
Yeah, exactly. And I was literally told by Egil Sande that one of the things Solskjaer does not like are lazy players.
Exactly.
And I mean, if Christian Fuchs is to be believed, that's what we've got here.
That's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of Cengiz Ünder. I think he is a fantastic footballer when he's fit and when he's on his day. But he's injury prone. He's been injury prone since he was at AS Roma. That's the whole reason why they sold him, and it's the same reason why Marseille sold him to Fenerbahçe.
I mean, do you think it's the injury proneness or the mentality? I think it's more the mentality, probably.
Well, it's probably both,
it is both, because if you don't train well and you don't take proper care of yourself, then injuries are bound to happen. And I think that's probably what Cengiz Ünder's issue is. Like, if he'd live like a proper athlete and take proper care of himself, coaches would take more kindly to him, give him more chances. For example, I don't think it's a coincidence that last season he got a decent amount of chances, scored some goals, scored some crackers, but now under José Mourinho, who's a taskmaster, he can barely get a minute in edgewise. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, they've also brought in sort of Ozidin and like reinforcements, I guess. But like, why would they do that if they didn't, right? If he was filling their need. Anyway. Shall I continue with the comments? Did you want to say something, Cartel?
I mean, see, Karen was alluding to, like, we would have been excited if we signed him when Fenerbahçe did. I wouldn't have been for the money.
I would not have, for the record, because I actually, when Fener signed him, I was laughing. Because the amount of money they paid for him, I think it was 15.5 million, plus the amount of money they were paying him, I was laughing. Because I knew he wasn't going to be worth that money. Because if he was a proper professional, he would 100% be worth that and more. Because if he was a proper professional, he'd probably be like a 40-50 million player. And he'd be playing in the Premier League still. But he's not.
I wasn't, like, I wouldn't have wanted him because I knew that the cost. Say if we could have bought him for a few million at that point, I'd be very excited. But with the money paid and his injury problems, no, I wouldn't have wanted him back then, no.
Let me get to these comments now, because a lot of these are related to what we're doing later on. So I want to try to breeze through these as quickly as I can. Because it's also, keep them coming, guys. It's appreciated, obviously, and very topical. So as we already said, Eric Grindbakken, also welcome, sir. Right, I guess everything wasn't fixed in 5 minutes after all. Yeah, and no one should have expected it. Like, I remember writing our group chat, like, guys, temper expectations a little, right? Like, regardless of the result, we just want to see steps taken forward, right? I'm not sure we saw that in the end, but
yeah, and you also need to keep in mind, I think for the players, it's also a lot easier to get extremely hyped or motivated to show yourselves against a top 4 La Liga side, and then you know, obviously that should not be an excuse. Players should be. I mean, if you want to win the league next year or the year after or whatever, like your players are going to have to be able to charge themselves up for Antalya away. Because if they can't charge themselves up for Antalya away, they're not going to be able to charge themselves up for, let's say, Erzurum promotes or something, or Hatay, or or I don't know, one of those more shitty away games. Imagine Sivas away in January, huh?
Yeah. Next, Hawks Honcho. Let's go Black Eagles. Hopefully we get some Serginho news today. Indeed. Sebastian Heineth. Nice. Hi, everyone. Flacco54 writes, hey. I wonder if that's Flacco, like... There are a lot of references there. There was an owl named Flacco in New York that was flying around recently.
Flacco Hernandez.
It died.
Isn't that a character from Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there's also, I think, a Flacco... There was a reference that was common in hip-hop for a while, too, but I don't remember where it came from. But anyway, hey, Flacco. Welcome to the group. Keep them coming, new posters. We like the bravery that it requires to post for the first time. We appreciate that. Next up, Vigilante Turk with the eagle emoji. What's up? Jason, you are turned up too much content. Okay, we got all the sound stuff. Vigilante Turks is the first half was terrible, but the second half we were a bit better. Yeah, we agreed. I think Kartal said this. I mean, I said the same thing too. Dennis BVD. I don't know who Dennis is, but another new first-time commenter. Welcome to the club. And he writes, and Chamberlain's non-existence. And yes, that was... I had said that I was really disappointed by the way that Rashica and Semi were kind of not allowing us to create those chances up front, especially in that first half. But like on the other hand, you have a guy like Ox who just basically didn't exist at all. So that was...
You gotta wonder what effect that's gonna have on Solskjaer's opinion, right? Because I don't know if you guys remember, but
he was yeah.
First we were hearing for months, Ox is staying until January, but in January he's definitely leaving. Then Ole comes in and it said, Ole wants to give Ox a chance and keep him until the end of the season. And then right after the match, it was like, Ox doesn't want to leave. He wants $4.5 million to F off. And like, I mean, but you do have to wonder though, what Ole thinks now. I mean, it's obviously just been one game, and obviously you have to keep in mind Ox barely played for a year. But you do have to wonder how serious Ole is going to be considering him as part of the team now going forwards. I mean, he obviously sees him in practice, and he'll have, seen in this game what he brings or what he doesn't bring, and maybe he'll want a little bit more sample size. Maybe Ox gets to play against Anatalyaspor next week Tuesday at 8:30 local time. By the way, tickets are only 10 and 20 lira each because the match is being played at the Atatürk Olympiad Stadium. So if you're in Istanbul next week Tuesday, go and check out the game in the cup against Anatalyaspor, because if we win that one, I think we have a really, really good chance of going to the next round.
Yeah. Is anyone why it's been played in the Atatürk Stadium?
Yeah, because the pitch is being at the Vodafone or the Tupra Stadium, is being not renovated but like fixed. Yeah, they're maintenance work.
Because the pitch is in terrible condition.
Yeah, they're doing maintenance work on the pitch.
That's good to hear.
Anyway, comments. Grey Wolf writes, I am dumbfounded by the dramatic drop in our performance from the Europa League game. I know there were some player changes and the opposition had a more defensive tactic, but it was still unacceptable. I mean, I think, I don't know about unacceptable. I think
it was unacceptable. You can't go a full game creating 2 chances, man. That's bullshit. Not when you're fish.
Yeah, but I mean, unacceptable insofar as like I'm not going to be like, Solskjaer. That was unacceptable from you.
Oh
sir.
no,
You know,
of
like,
course, no.
Yeah.
I don't
unacceptable
think
from the
anyone is-
players.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you know that's.
I don't think anyone is blaming Ole at this point yet. But also, I think it's more so. You take the lead in the 79th minute, you have to be able to hold on to
You gotta
that
hold
lead,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Like this is Antalyaspor. They don't have ridiculous quality. Like I
Kartal,
said,
did
like,
you see the foul
didn't even
thing?
start
There was supposed to be a
with-
foul shout. Sorry, I just totally interrupted you.
A
Can't
foul
finish
shout?
this. There was a
I mean,
shout on their goal.
Well, because the
and
ball.
being trio, I think they said that the goal scorer fouled Batia.
Mm.
I mean, he did just like face plant. Like you'd like to think he didn't just do that on purpose, right?
On
And
top
you
of
bet-
that,
you bet-
there was an appeal for the ball crossing the line. I thought it was very difficult to see, but
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure if there was a foul, but I think it's only first of all should be closing out that crosser a lot quicker. It's too slow to react. And second, if Batia's going to do a diving head on that situation, man, you need to make sure you get that ball away, and he didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean that little header thing was terrible. I'd like to think he was maybe jostled down or something because
You need to be.
I don't know why he
strong
would
in
have
the
done
duel,
that.
man. Like you
This-
can't
this team
hope for a
just-
fall.
This team's just not going to be successful, I think, man. Full stop. For this team to be successful, I think you at least need 3 or 4 transfers, at least.
certainly
That's right.
like
Yeah.
2 wingers.
I
yeah.
don't think that's I don't think that's a stretch. But on the other side of the coin, I mean, in that situation there, you do have Onur defending and Bakhtiar, and I like Bakhtiar, but we saw it against Athletic as well. I think at 2-1 or at 1-1, I think it might have been a 2-1. I think he came on and was it
As a
against
left back,
Athletic?
right?
I think it was against Athletic, and he has a duel with I don't remember, was it Inaki Williams or something, and he goes down really easily looking for a fall, and Felix has to save the day.
Had to cover for
And-
him. Yeah.
Like, you can't do that, man. Like, Bakhtiar needs to stop going down easily. He just needs to get stuck in. I don't know if that was the case in this situation, but
I should have watched the replays now that I think about it, especially for that one because I had question marks on that too.
I can
He
bring
definitely
them.
just face planted the.
You
Don't do it, copyright con. Don't strike.
Talk about just what I think about the squad. I just think we've seen now that this team isn't capable of playing against a team that kind of sits back, because Antalyaspor to this game started pressing us just after the halfway line. So they were pretty compact. They didn't press us up high. And I think when we play against teams that are like closed off like that, we really struggle. We couldn't open them up.
But we don't have anything to open them up either, right? The only thing we have is Rafa, and Mucci wasn't playing. And even
and Mucci's not only done it so often, man. So many times
exactly.
he's done that consistently.
I mean, if you want a negative talking point, I think we could probably all agree that the guys who are out there should be good enough to beat a squad like this one, like Antalya's or anyone else in the Super League besides a few,
it's like,
It's
not having good players, but the players we have aren't bad players, but they're just, it's just there's not the right balance and mixture of profile.
I mean, something's not working.
Someone like Ox needs to, in a game like this, someone like Ox needs to step up. You're paying him 3 million a year, and he's doing absolutely nothing.
I like steak and I like chocolate, but I wouldn't have them at the same meal together. You know what I mean? That's what our squad's like. We've got some nice ingredients, but it doesn't make a nice meal. Do you know what I mean?
I guess. I still feel like if I don't know if like I'm not willing to give like Semi or Rashica especially a pass on yesterday, because like if you have guys in those positions doing what they should have been doing, we would have had 10 chances that they just kind of squandered. At least, like I think at least 10.
You know what? I'm just thinking of a really good chance that we had. There was a lofted pass to Chiro, and he just grazes it. He isn't able to put his head on it, but that was a really good chance as well. If you have a Onuachu there, it's probably a goal.
There was another one Chiro fucked up as well. He got the ball with his back to the goal and he just passed it straight to an Antalyaspor player.
Yeah, that was terrible. I remember
Really,
that.
really good assist though. I have to give him that.
Great assist.
He had a good assist, but I'm going to keep saying it. I don't think Immobile's the right striker for us, man. I don't.
Well, anyway, before we open up that can of worms,
Definitely not when we don't have when we don't have the ability to create for him.
Well, I think that this team needs like that on an actual type, man. A big, strong striker that can hold
someone
up
that
the ball.
can do something aerially too, right?
They definitely need a creative right winger.
If you put Onuachu in this team and you don't add anything else, Onuachu will do better than Immobile, no doubt. But Onuachu is not going to score 30 goals either because you don't have proper.
Yeah. So I think this is what I think we need for this team, right? We need a creative right winger, either a Gazelle type that likes to cut in and kind of play those cross balls, like not down to the last line, but like maybe like halfway between the goal and the halfway line, like that type of stuff. Or even if you get someone more like Quaresma, as long as someone that creates danger with their crosses or their passes. I'd like a player like that in the right wing. I'm not bothered if it's either or. I think you need an athletic left back that's got very good stamina.
That's where Rashica was so
And
useless,
quick.
man. Like he had so many nice balls out wide, and then every cross he put in was just either way too far or just like sputtered out. Like he has no ability to.
You bring in a left back that's basically what they say in Turkey is like GS's, man. You know what I mean? Like they can run for ages.
Yeah.
Basically a Jetson, but like a fullback version.
Sasha Bowie was like that.
Mm.
Good at defending, right? And then
Rosier could do it as well, honestly. But he wasn't as fast, but
I think you keep Jetson as well, because I think Jetson for these European games is very, very important. But I think we need to be able to have another type of number 8 there that can play in these games when the teams are sitting back. See, the thing is, but obviously Jetson had that key pass yesterday, to Immobile, which came to the goal, but he doesn't do that often enough.
He had a chance actually where he was coming in from out wide and he could have centered it.
They can be good in the passing game. When you've got the opposition pinned, it's going to help play some nice passes, help carve them open. I always use a tall guy Aslan as like a profile, not him himself, because he was inconsistent, but I felt he was like a vet in terms of what he could do. He was a very good all-rounded midfielder. He was pretty strong, physical. Obviously, no Jetson.
I do get the feeling, though, Carta, I have a feeling that people are kind of stuck in 2015 when it comes to profiles of players. I feel like in 2025, I feel like you need more, like, you have Ozan, for example, who was a fantastic passer of the ball. And Tall Guy was a little bit more a good passer, but also somebody with a little bit more energy. So I agree with you. You kind of need a little bit of both. Because I see a lot of comments online like saying, oh, we need a real passer number 8 and then like a Gezal type on the wing. But I think, especially for Europe, that's too static. I think you need more energy, you need more running ability, you need more ability to cover ground. I think that would have worked fine 10 years ago. I think the game is constantly evolving, and I feel like, especially number 8s, I don't think you need a static passing number 8, especially not if you already have Al-Musrati, who is kind of a static passing number 6.
And that's exactly why I'm using Tall Guy. And Ozan in that period was our best number 8. But the reason I think Tall Guy is the example is because he was an all-rounder. Like, he'd do it all. Was he consistent? Not really. But he could do it all. That's why I give him the example, because I think in that modern game, you still need that physicality, that energy, the motor, which Ozan didn't have. But I think, obviously, like Jetson's like God level motor, God level ball carrier, stamina, ball winning, all that stuff. But I think in these types of games, we need a different profile there. See, when we're playing in Europe against these heavyweight teams, Jetson's your best player in those games. I think we can all agree on that. But I think in these scenarios, we'd be better off with someone more like Tall Guy Asa. And then obviously, so I said the pivot striker, the creative right wing, the athletic left back, and then that type of number 8. I think we need these profiles. I don't think we're going to win the league straight away with these types of profiles, but I think, see, with these types of profiles, we're going to start being good again. And
it all depends on how consistent those players perform. And
yeah, so like, I'm just talking like hypothetically, but if you sign these types of players, I think
you can sign a tall guy Aslan and get exactly what you got with tall guy was somebody who does have that profile but is inconsistent. If you can find,
I want to rebut what you just said, Krato, a little bit. Only that yesterday I heard in the group chat a lot of people were sort of talking about how our midfield wasn't doing what we needed for this type of match because of the defensive proclivities of Antalya or whatever it was, or like the average Super League team. The reason I keep mentioning the Rashica and Semi thing and how they were kind of squandering opportunities is because I think by not paying attention to that, you could look at the midfield and think they weren't doing their job. But I actually think that you look at the pairing of Gedson and Al-Musrati and how Gedson was doing the ball winning, and like in a lot of ways it was working to perfection yesterday, where he was laying it off for Al-Musrati and he was sending Rashica up wide on the wing. And then Rashica would just like be on a run, have all the space in the world to center it, and just send in a bad cross. And like, before we analyze that pairing in the back of our midfield, I really think we need to put creative forces on the wings and see what that produces. Because that alone might be like, I swear we would have had so many chances if one of those two guys was just doing the right thing after they beat their man. Because that's what we were lacking.
One of the things
we were just lacking that last pass.
But one of the things that also is interesting is we're talking about Gedson now because in the 10th slot we have Rafa, right? And I think we can all agree Rafa is by far our best player. However, Rafa is not necessarily... He's creative, don't get me wrong. He has very good creative sparks and he has those moments of brilliance. But Rafa is not really a playmaker. He's more... he's more like a striker almost, a second striker, kind of like Talisca, but a better footballer, but not as deadly with a free kick or with his head or whatever. But he's a better all-round football player than Talisca. But he is kind of that Talisca type. Like he's not really a midfielder, so you're essentially playing with two midfielders, not with three. And I think that makes things a little bit more difficult for us. Ideally, if you could play with 12 men, then having Rafa there and then having three midfielders behind him. So I think actually with Rafa in the system, playing three at the back would probably be better. And then you could have Rafa as the second striker.
As like the supporting striker almost.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be more ideal because that way you can have Gedson, you can have Al-Musrati, and you can have then a third central midfielder with some passing ability, creative playmaking, whatever. But then you move away, of course, from the Rashid Ghazal profile on the wing. Then you move more towards the wing back that keeps running,
We've been criticized, Khan, for not getting the comments fast enough. This is what I feared when I was trying to breeze through these. I knew it. I knew this was coming. Where were we on these comments? People said that your sound was fixed. That's good. Seba says, same as Grey Wolf. I really got so frustrated with this match because we were so good the match before. We'll kind of move on quickly here. Grey Wolf, as for transfers, first priority is wingers and not injury-prone players. Cengiz Ünder is a winger, but he is injury-prone. Seba writes, Semi was a big problem, I think. Compared to Cheeto, he doesn't really know how to open space, I think.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about.
He's always waiting for the ball.
That was a big problem yesterday. Like, I really feel like we can't understate that. Anyway, we have a new commenter.
Yeah, but that's one of the things that Chiro does not get enough credit for. He creates a lot of space for Rafa. And I think part of the reason why Rafa... Again, I didn't watch the game live. So this is just me guessing. But I would not be surprised if the reason Rafa wasn't as good in the first half is probably because Chiro wasn't there, creating pockets for him to dive into.
Yeah.
That's just a guess.
Well, certainly, like his ability to hold the ball down at least and kind of distribute it back to someone who's coming forward was sorely lacking in that first half. Next, we have Grey Wolf. Sorry. Nasser, a new guy, Nasser H. I wonder if Nasser is probably not a Turk, right? I remember Ole mentioning that he wanted to instill more possession-based football on the overlap. However, this Beşiktaş squad is primarily built for counterattacking rather than controlling the game. They need to buy young, hungry players who can get molded and fight for the team.
Yeah.
I'll hand that one off to you guys.
Look, I feel like that comment there from Nasser.
Good comment.
That. What I've been saying is, like, see if we sign those profiles that I referred to, then you're a lot more likely to see Beşiktaş being able to be a team that dominates the ball and creates chances against these low blocks as well. If the profiles that I've mentioned are signed.
Where's you running off to? Keep going, Katana.
Yeah, so I think that was a brilliant comment.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think that's a great. But that's also, that's again the parallel with Manchester United. I feel like when Ole took over, I think he had a squad that was more suitable for playing counter-attacking football, and I feel like he's in this very similar position now with us, where it's just a squad that right now is a little bit more. Yeah, it not just a little. I mean, it favors playing counter-attacking football right now simply because we don't have those enough creative elements. We only really have Rafa right now, and if you only have Rafa, you can lock him down. If you have different sources of danger, then it's harder to contain.
If you remember, Can, last time we saw that when we were doing our podcast about the Sivas game, you brought up an image on the screen of how they overloaded the middle and like kept the wings open because they know that we are nowhere near as dangerous down the wings.
Yeah,
because like we don't have that threat like we do down the middle with Rafa, and that in that game they were effective of kind of hampering Rafa's ability to really make things happen in that game. And I think a lot we won that game comfortably, but I think a lot of teams took lessons from that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's
sorry guys, someone delivered food to the wrong apartment. That's where I was running off to.
It's also when you start off a season well, like the way we did. Of course, teams that are playing you in 3-4 weeks, they're already analyzing how to make it difficult for you. And as soon as you find a team that's going to make things more difficult for you, everyone else is just going to try and copy what they do and improve on that. And, Beşiktaş don't have enough weapons to deal with that because Rafa, he's a fantastic player, but he's only one man at the end of the day.
So it's a team sport. No football team just has one guy that, maybe
does everything.
It's like the Chicago, the Chicago Bulls in between 84 and 90, right? Like Michael Jordan was maybe the best player in the league, but he was also the only real great player on that team, so they locked him down as much as they could, and they didn't win shit. But once they started adding Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, whatever, they started adding really good players to that, then it's when they started winning. And that's what we're at right now. I feel we have a really good player in Rafa, and hopefully we can get a couple of really good years out of him, but we need to surround him with the necessary quality. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to consistently break down teams like Antalyaspor, like Sivasspor, like all these teams that are going to put up a low block against us. And it's easy to say, oh, well, this coach, Gio, for example, or that coach struggles with a low block. But if you don't have the players to take, to unlock that low block, then you're not going to be successful because you might get away with it against Sivasspor, but the next week you have a team doing the exact same thing, and maybe this time you don't have a moment of brilliance from this or that player to help you. We're relying on individual quality in those matches too much.
Yeah, I think you're never going to get too far just relying on individual quality. Even in that second half of the season with Abu Bakar, where he kind of carried us, you could say, but at that point, even our defence was rock solid at that point. We had, like, Jensen was doing really well as the motor. Hadjimetovic was doing well, opening up the play to the wings. Redmond could beat a man. Like, we don't have a guy like Redmond just now that can beat a man on the wings, even. We don't have anyone like that.
Yeah.
So never in football, especially football, man, where it's 11 players on that pitch, you're never going to get by just with one guy carrying you. And I think we just need to give Rafa help, man. We need to get, like, the priority for me since the summer. I've been crying out for a creative winger. We need that filled. And see, the sad thing is, like, see with the rumours being mentioned, it seems like they're going for more of a wing forward profile, from what I've been hearing.
Yeah, but I think we need I think we need both, though. I think we need a creative winger, but we also need a wing forward. But also, if you can, like, a wing forward, if you can have somebody that can consistently beat his man and fire in shots, that also makes the opponent more nervous and has to try and lock that player down, which in turn then creates more space for someone like Rafa. So it has a desired effect as well, where you stop the opponents from locking down your one source of danger. So a really good wing forward would also help, I think. Ideally, you want someone that can also create, you want both.
I think we've got players that can be used in that wing forward role. I think, see, especially if you put a really good left back, I think that Rashica and Mucci could be used in that wing forward role.
Rashica doesn't take on his man consistently, doesn't try to beat his man. In order to get a shot off, you need to first get into a shooting position. And he, like...
Well, I was going to say, I'd almost rather see Rafa in that role with Mucci in the middle. But anyway, guys, let's get to these comments, because there's like a trillion. We're having a big comment day. Grey Wolf, that floppy player should have gotten 2 yellows. Yeah, Genepo, that's when I was doing the team sheets. Yeah. Nasser says, I don't know how he got away with that. The Vigilante Turk, the referee was so bad. Do you guys think we should have do you think we should get foreign referees brought in instead of the Turks? We've talked about this on a few occasions. I think we all kind of agree that it would be nice to get some outside eyes on the league if we could.
I just want them to be consistent, man. Like, they can make mistakes. They're humans. You know, what happened yesterday, that can happen, I guess. But I want to see it happen across the board and not just in our games. And I feel like Galatasaray get away with murder all the time and hardly ever get punished. And we get punished for things that didn't even happen. Like, do you remember early in the season, like, Masuaku just came on as a sub. He went up for a header and he got a yellow card.
Yeah.
Like, and it feels like we've gotten these phantom yellows so often this year. I'm not saying Galatasaray doesn't get a yellow card once in a while that probably shouldn't have been a yellow, but like, they get away with so much though. Like the other day, they win their game 1-0 against Konya, and they probably should have had 2 red cards. And it's like, I just want to see consistency and fairness. Obviously, referees are always going to make mistakes, whether you bring in foreign coaches or foreign refs or not. Like 2 weeks ago, Galatasaray got a really ridiculous penalty against Hatayspor, and the VAR that gave it was also foreign. So foreign refs aren't going to solve everything, but we need to get a level playing field, and right now we don't have that. Mistakes are always going to happen, but they should happen across the board and not just always in favor of certain teams.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. Next in the comments, we've got Grey Wolf. Haha, hope this is true. Leicester and Wolves are keen to snap up Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain if the midfield is allowed to leave Beşiktaş in January. It has been claimed. Yeah.
What's the source on that, Grey Wolf?
Yeah, Grey Wolf. Yeah, drop your sources with your rumors, please.
Yeah, please.
Because we try to avoid the dodgier rumors if we can. So I don't know who we're putting on blast here.
And if you can say who's saying it, we can also bring it up on the screen and have a look at it as well.
There you go. Yeah, Khan with his fancy tricks. Nasser, Twente already has an unfair advantage with their league games being postponed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it unfair. I mean, it's tactical though, for sure.
That's a league that realizes how important these coefficient points are and how important these matches are for the clubs, and they do what they're supposed to do. And our league just sleep. They don't, They're too worried that their crowded calendar is gonna be too hard to find a place to play those matches, I think.
Yeah, and Nasser, I don't know if you're used to following a club in a league like in this, 6 to 10 range in European coefficients, but like that's where these games start getting fairly pivotal, and so you start to see stuff like that. So it's pretty clever in a way on the part of the Eredivisie, or
it doesn't always work out.
Or they're the Dutch Federation, I guess.
It doesn't always work out the way you plan, though, because sometimes
they could rest on their laurels.
And also just sometimes skipping that weekend game can hurt you more than it helps you, because you kind of get out of the rhythm, even though it's like only like a week, but still. It's not always favorable, but that's more so I think early in the season, because they do it a lot early in the season as well for like the playoffs and stuff. Champions League playoffs, Europa League playoffs and stuff like that. Then they do it often as well, and then I think it's probably more questionable because you're so early on into the season. Maybe more games means better match rhythm. I think at this point in the season, it's probably more an advantage than the possibility of it being a disadvantage, because at this point, everyone should be firing at all cylinders anyway. So, yeah, just extra days of rest. So it's definitely an advantage for them.
Yeah, especially like you think of the 2 injuries we just picked up in this last match. Anyway, moving on. Grey Wolf writes, Talisca is in Istanbul. And then he writes, can't they appeal the cards? Nasser writes, you can only appeal red cards.
In certain countries, they do allow you to appeal yellows as well. I really think they should allow you to appeal yellow cards, because often enough wrong yellows are given. So I that's maybe even an easier way to fix it, because earlier I said something like, I think, the VAR should be able to talk to the referee and have him cancel it, but that's probably gonna be too complicated. But I think the refereeal board or the disciplinary board should easily be able, after every game, go over the yellow cards and rescind cards that are clearly wrong. They should be able to do that, and they should do that, I think.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they did it. It'd be nice if they just did it on their own for the sake of getting things right.
Yeah, they shouldn't even get appealed. They should just review all the cards every game, and if there's a wrong one, they should just rescind it.
That would require professionalism and discipline and impartiality, all things that they lack. Moving on, Sebastian. I was actively watching the match, fully focused on it, and I did not know that Ox played until someone said it in the group chat. Yeah, I actually didn't realize he was playing at first either until I saw that. Nasser says that Immobile scored an offside goal
recently, by the way.
Must have been.
Yeah,
I wonder. He scored. He did score. I wonder what that was. Probably something we were talking about at the time. He said. Then he says refs do need to be held accountable. Welcome to the Turkish Super League, Nasser, where that is you might as well make a poster with those words on it and just look at it occasionally, I guess. Grey Wolf, there should be an after-game review. That's when we were just saying this, and reverse any bad referee calls. Michael Oliver in England is getting a severe backlash for another bad red card call against Arsenal. Arsenal's gotten ridiculous red cards, and mostly from Michael Oliver. Funny he doesn't give one. Okay, we're not doing your Premier League silly stuff, Grey Wolf. Sorry, pal, but nope. Adam Gould, new commenter, says this is a great idea, doing an English podcast about Beşiktaş. Thank you for trying to make Beşiktaş global. Very huge money for Cengiz. He has a very bad injury list back then, and he's done with football in his head, I think. He has had a terrible list of injuries for sure throughout his career. He's injury prone, to say the least.
Not big injuries, I think, but lots
little
of
knick-knack
ones. Yeah, I think at least. I don't remember if he ever had a big injury. Did he ever have an ACL or anything like that? I don't think so. I think he's one of those people that are like made out of, like Iron Robin, but then
didn't he have one bad injury in France or something before Fener got him?
I'm gonna look it up now, right? But
I thought he did. Yeah, I guess we might as well get to know this player. No, hopefully we don't have to. Nasser here. This is a good pausing point for the chat.
Oh wait, I just brought up the injury list.
No, you didn't.
Oh, that's the wrong screen count. Jesus. Here's the injury list. So let's have a look. Groin injury, unknown injury, fitness, groin, unknown, fitness, torn thigh muscle. That's pretty big, I would say, but he only missed
Maybe that's
27 days, so I guess not too bad. There's a knee injury here, but he barely.
It would have been
anything.
Marseille. Bless you.
Thank you, man.
Back injury. It doesn't seem like there's anything super serious here so far.
I mean, that recurring back injury could be noteworthy. But...
This is the total amounts of days he was injured. So really, in the 23-24 season, he missed 81 days.
71 that year before, right?
Yeah, no. 38 a year, 36 a year before, 60.
No, I meant the year before he came to Fener. Was that? I can't see the left column, but
yeah, it's because I got
the 71. The 71 was that the year before he came to Fener?
No, I think 36 is the year before he come to Fener. And 38 is this season. 81 is last season, so his first season at Fener. 36 is season before, then 60, then 62, then 71 days. And then the total matches are.
So 71 was when? Was he still like Altinord or something?
Roma.
No, that must have been Roma or something. That's 18-19 season, so that's either Roma or Beşiktaş. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, okay.
He went to Roma in 2017.
Okay.
All right. So there you go, folks. There's the chat. Okay. But so here we're gonna have to pause on this next question because this is gonna evoke a lot of laughs and irony, Nasser. So be prepared for this. Nasser asks, who are the reliable Turkish football journalists on football transfers? Oh, I guess what you should have asked first is, are there any reliable journalists rather than who are they? Boy, what would you guys say? Who's reliable these days?
I mean, I think in general, Sabuncuoğlu is number one.
Yeah. I would say right now, when it comes to Beşiktaş, there aren't really any that we can trust at the moment because the problem with this is that it changes depending on who's in charge at the club. So because we've had 3 boards in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, when Ahmet Nuh Çebi was still the president and Emre Kocadağ was the vice president and Cengiz, what was his name? The sporting director, what was his name again? The Kazancı. Ceyhun Kazancı was the sporting director. So back then, Sercan Dikme was really reliable and got a lot of scoops. But then when Hasan Arat became the president, suddenly nobody got scoops anymore, at least for a while. But Hüseyin Yücel, who was the vice president, he definitely had we could still find stuff out, but you had to you didn't find it out in the media necessarily. Like you heard it through the grapevine. And now I feel like...
What's that?
Huh?
WhatsApp group chats?
Yeah, WhatsApp group chats, exactly.
Friends with sources, you mean?
Yeah, and right now, you don't hear anything, I feel like. Yeah, they're talking a lot. They talk a lot, and they all talk like they know, but I get the feeling that a lot of them are just talking out of their asses at the moment. So, Murat Özen
as Attilcan says, Attilcan just said, I would say most of the journalists don't have many ties to the club currently. They're getting the news live as soon as real movement is made by the club. Yeah, I think we're kind of all in the same boat as most of the journalists these days.
For like a decade, Murat Özen was really the go-to guy when it came to Beşiktaş. He always got scoops, and they were almost always accurate. And then it changed into Sercan Dikme for a couple of years when Ahmet Nuh Çebi was president. I feel like when Fikret Orman was the president, Murat Özen was the main guy. And even before that, maybe when Yildirim Demirören was still president. I don't remember
Dikme had a pretty good run.
Dikme had a pretty good run of a couple of years, but as soon as, Ahmet Nuh Çebi. And that's also probably why he never criticized Ahmet Nuh Çebi. Because... his livelihood kind of depended on it, or his reliability.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Yeah. No, and for anyone who doesn't know, so there was a guy in the NBA named Wojnarowski who knew everything that was going on, and so whenever he would write something, they'd say, "Oh, it's a Woj bomb," and so Serjan Dikme had become so reliable for, I would say, 2 years, to the extent that we dubbed his tweets "dick bombs," and so for the longest time, it was really exciting when you saw him say something, because it was like, "Oh, this might be legit." And now it's mostly ironic when I use the term, because he hasn't been right in a few years, or no, maybe about a year.
It was basically the full time Ahmed Nurchev was president, so like 2019 to 2023.
So like
4 years, 3 or 4 years. Wow.
I wouldn't even say it was like, the guy was literally an unofficial spokesperson for the club. It felt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you knew that there was some weight behind the rumors he was tossing out there for sure. However, that's no longer the case. Moving along, Edim Gul Nasser. So Edim says Serdar Adalı said he's going to do transfers that no one expects. And here we are. Yes, President. We don't expect Cengiz Ünder, like you said. Yeah, indeed. We definitely caught us all off guard. You got to give him that.
I mean, look, they
Jason,
are. Like,
I don't. Oh no, I'm not doing the pun. Sorry, Jason.
Just a second, Sinan. The collection of journalists are all in chorus saying that Cengiz Ünder would be an extra. He wouldn't be instead of any other wing transfers. There's also some people out there suggesting that it's part of a deal where we allow Scherendorf to go back to PSG, so that enables Fenerbahçe to then sign Skriniar on loan from PSG. And that's why Fener are going to be covering at least half of the wages of Cengiz Ünder. But, like, yeah, again, Cengiz Ünder is a great player on his day. He's still young enough and all that, but injuries and bad mentality, bad professionalism. Maybe it works out great for us. You never know, but it's funny because, again, Serdar Adalı accused Hüseyin Yücel of going to be the continuation of Hasan Arat. But right now, Serdar Adalı if this happens, Serdar Adalı is looking more like the continuation of Yıldırım Demirören, where we just go back to 2005 when we were signing all the Fenerbahçe rejects. Because that's essentially what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, eventually we'll have to talk about Serdar Adalı and how he's doing, but maybe we'll save that for next month, for the next sporting report. Continuing with the comments, we've got, I don't know how I skipped forward here.
The understand one, but we already did that one.
Yeah, so... no, I'm not doing that. We're not, no. Come on, don't even give that. Cry my name. İyi yayınlar beyler. Cengiz ne alaka? Yeah, no, that's not. Hopefully that's not happening. Jason says puns for the world. Maybe your world, my friend. No, I'm kidding. Vigilante Turk. Beşiktaş wants Oliver and Cham from Samsunspor. Another bad transfer. Name your sources, Vigilante Turk. You too.
I don't think he's a bad player, by the way. I think Oliver and Cham is a quality player. The question is whether or not he would... if that would translate to a top team. He, of course, played for Celtic in the past, so he knows what it is to play for a team that's playing for the championship or European spots or whatever. But he's 28. He's playing for Samsunspor now. Good player for sure. One of, if not the best player on Samsunspor, together maybe with Juan Dilmagi. But, yeah. That's not the 20 to 23-year-old players in their prime that we were promised, right?
Yeah, and he's not a creative player either. I had a look at his stats. He's more of a kind of engine guy than someone to create chances for you. And we need the creativity.
He's a good ball carrier, strong, athletic, but he's not creative. No.
Finish Kebab, finishing that thought. It says lazy Ünder and lazy Masuaku on the field. What could go wrong? Yeah.
Let's put them on the same wing.
Finish. Yeah, right. Yeah. At least they're on the opposite sides, yeah. Although now we just have a weakness on both sides rather than one. Although not like Rashid's tearing the league apart here. Adam Gould says he has a great point. I don't understand how Solskjaer gave him the okay. I think we're talking about Ünder. We don't know that this is actually happening yet. So hopefully it's not. Sebastian Heineth says also about these transfers: is this the work of our not sporting directors? Do they work? Are they official now? Are they real? I don't know what holiday. As the ambassador, I should be aware of what holiday it is wherever in the world these guys are coming from.
On that note, actually, Sinan, from the sporting director, there is this tweet, and I'll put the translation beneath it so you can read it for our listeners.
So apparently, according to Murat Özen, there is a situation regarding the scout team. Graf and Sigbert are names. They are names. However, this situation cannot be officially announced due to Sigbert's contract problems with his club. Both of them can be on the same team. They could be if they wanted to be.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
There's a lot of.
I just thought that was topical, so I figured I'd bring it up.
No, yeah.
In this scenario, look, we kind of just need to take the president's word for it. The president did say the scouting team is working.
Yeah.
He did that. He said
although this Cengiz Ünder thing doesn't necessarily give that credence, right?
This is you seen these guys are never going to be given 100% control. There's always going to be the president as well as
things that slip through the cracks. Yeah.
By the way, here's the source. That's the Mirror.
Oh.
Grey Wolf's source is the Mirror, and the Mirror, I can tell you, is not a good source. So I don't think this is true, unfortunately. Yeah.
Sad, but
unfortunate.
Untrue.
Yeah.
Sebastian, they haven't been announced yet. That's Jason. We don't know much about the sporting directors except Murat Özen. If you accept what he has to say, although he basically said nothing. Next, Gurkan D. Welcome, new commenter here. Cengiz Ünder move reminds me of the Demirören era. We used to sign a lot of useless players that Galata and Fener didn't want anymore and tried to compete with them with their old players. Just absurd. Yeah, I mean, Khan, you just never said the
Mustafa
same,
Doğan, Mehmet Yozgatlı, Ali Güneş, Mert Nobre, Marco Aurelio. That's 5 just from the top of my head, all ex-Fener. And not all of them were bad.
I mean, to be fair, Mehmet Aurelio was all right, but
he was really good for Fener. He was really good for Fener, but when we got him, I think he had just had a stint in La Liga or something, and he was definitely not the same player anymore.
I think I'm going to go out and say that in the second season he was quite good. I thought.
I don't remember, man. So it's been a good while. Was it 2010?
I mean, Mehmet? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he had a pretty okay spell.
I think he was pretty good.
Yeah. Next, Sebastian Heineth. Makes sense. Jason might be one of these lined up transfers. But if that's one of his 2 lined up transfers, then I almost wish he was lying about those lined up transfers.
Yeah. And by the way, this is here. This is what I was saying earlier. Here's a translation, but for those of you that don't speak Turkish. But this is a claim from Ertan Süzgün, who's one of those higher profile journalists that I don't know if you can call him reliable or not, Nasser. But he is claiming that Cengiz Ünder would be like almost a little extra. It wouldn't be instead of, if that makes sense. So the translation here, Beşiktaş's planning is a foreign left wing and a foreign left back, and a domestic winger. If Cengiz Ünder's transfer is realized, it will be independent of other transfers.
I mean, I guess that goes back to what we were saying. If he's just squad depth, he might as well. It's a little expensive for just squad depth, though.
Very expensive squad depth,
yeah. Next up, Hax Honcho, ASAP Rocky, Lord Pretty Flacco, he called himself. Oh, my friend Hax. You're talking to an old New Yorker. I'm aware of ASAP Rocky, but in fact, Flacco predates that by about 30 years. And I'm talking about the Cold Crush crew and like the B-Boys. There was a Flacco, because Flacco means skinny in Spanish. I don't know if that's slang or whatever, but so there was a Flacco who was doing breakdancing in like the Bronx like 30 years before ASAP Rocky. Probably about 20 years before he was even born. But anyway.
By the way, do you mind if I bring up a Twitter comment, Sino?
Sure.
All right, so this is from La Vittoria Sara Nostra. I had written, Cengiz is a very talented football player. He is also a lazy football player and an extremely injury-prone football player. More than likely a waste of our limited funds. And La Vittoria Sara Nostra comments, he is shit. He is a disgrace, disgusting transfer. I still hope this is false because it is a scandalous decision. Utter bullshit. Yeah.
Serdal Adali is winning the plaudits, you could say. With his
Definitely. Yeah. I just thought that
no, that's
reply
great. That's
deserved a highlight here. I have another one, by the way.
You want to pull it up now? Or?
Yeah, so this one... sorry, that's the wrong button. Just un momento.
You're going to repost your player. I'll read a comment. Meanwhile... Oh, there you go.
So there's the comments.
Dennis Jandas says, if we're making this deal so that Fener can rent a player from PSG by us releasing Ünder, this is totally unacceptable. Is that what they're saying? Oh man,
that's
that
what
would be a disgrace.
Are suggesting, yeah. So that's definitely not like
the helping them with their squad planning.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be disgusting. That would be disgusting. Going back to La Vittoria Sara Nostra. Anyway, Nasser, this team lacks depth in quality. Oh man, tell me about it. All it takes is one injury and the standards drop. Yes, in fact, Nasser, and you probably weren't following us during the Gio van Bronckhorst era, but things were humming along for a couple weeks, and then we had a few injuries derail us, and it literally put the whole season into the meat grinder. And so we've got a new coach and everything, which has, I guess, to our luck, brought you to us. So. There's the silver line for that. Umit, hello, champion Beşiktaş. Okay, King Cengiz Ünder. Sort of maybe a king of something. The nether regions. Adam Ghoul says, you should go faster when you read comments. There is so many comments in a row. And yes, Adam, in our defense, we are not used to having such a large amount of comments. This is... kind of new territory for us, so we're adjusting on the fly.
We usually do our thoughts on the games, and then we get to comments. That's just the way we do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So by that point,
we didn't anticipate so much commentary during that. Yeah.
I mean, we do have a lot of comments, I think.
But you have to admit, this is a hefty.
I don't know how many are left. There's not that many left. It's not
quite. We do. I have to scroll down to see the end. I don't want to. I'm going to lose my spot. Umit, fantastic football star Rafa Silva. Yes, I think Umit might be practicing his English here. Mustafa Gedik, do you think Semi should be sold if a good offer is made? Mustafa, we've talked about this previously, and I think most of us have basically kind of begrudgingly brought ourselves to that way of thinking. Are you still there? You want to sell Semi, guys? If we can?
I'll let Carthel answer.
Just depends on the offer, man. Like,
yeah.
If you're not getting what you think he could be worth, then there's not much point selling him. So selling him now when he's on a down.
If you're selling him for 12-15 million euros, then no. If there's like an offer north of 20 million pounds, like say 25 million pounds or something like that, I'd definitely take that.
Yeah.
I think to get him on the up again before we sell him, man, like, because at this point, the way this season's went for him, we're not going to get what it could be worth potentially.
But that's his own fault, though.
But then, Cartel, don't you feel like you might run the risk of allowing him to further depreciate his value if you keep putting in these sort of lazy, middling performances consistently?
That's the risk you need to take, man.
Or you sell him for a lower fee, like 20
with a percentage,
million, something like that. You try and sell him to like Ajax or something. Supposedly there is interest from Ajax, and they are following him. And Ajax are a team that do pay high fees in the sense of, like 20-ish million. They have been known to pay fees like that. If they would be interested enough and pay something along those lines, I think selling him to Ajax for 20 and then getting like a 20% on next sale. I think that's also a good deal. Potentially.
Yeah, I think you take it if you get.
I think he has
like
he has a lot more chance right now succeeding at Ajax and making a big move to the Premier League from there. If he goes to the Premier League now, I don't think he makes it.
As long as he's like a big fish in a
He's
smaller
not
pond with us, it's not going to happen for him. I think he needs like the standards of training and the players around him need to be raised for him to raise his level at this point. So I feel like if you get a good offer, you got to let it go.
You have to imagine the Super League is like playing Super Mario Brothers. And you can finish that game relatively quickly, but Simi is still stuck in level 2.
I don't think I ever beat Mario Brothers. Mario 3 I beat. Anyway.
Any other game like that, man. Like,
what you're saying, it's beating a simple rudimentary game versus doing something complicated.
If he wants to go to the Premier League, he needs to beat the Super League first, and he hasn't finished the Super League yet. He's far from finished the Super League.
Yeah, no, ideally he'd put in a good, like Cartel's saying, a good season or two and be worth a lot more. But, remains to be seen.
But the question then that what you posed is, do you risk him depreciating more? So,
yeah, exactly. Edim says we should sell Semi if there's a good offer for him, like over 20 million euro, which is kind of what Concha said.
Yeah.
Umit says, "I love you, Beşiktaş." Umit, feel free to practice your English in our chat. I don't mind it at all. And if you need any error correction, I'll be here for you. Mustafa Gedik says, "I heard that Aston Villa made an 18 million offer." Yeah, and that's maybe not quite. I'd bump that up to 25. If they're willing to pay 18, they should pay more. Nasser says, "Beşiktaş has had 9 managerial appointments in the last 10 years. Only 9? I feel like we've had 9 in the last 2 years." Including interim positions. The constant changes highlight the lack of stability within the club. Patience is key. Hold on. Mustafa Gedik follows it up. "I hope Beşiktaş fans will be patient with the coach because Ole doesn't have the players who can play the game he wants yet." Continuing, Ole's main priority, and this is Nasser now, his main priority is fostering a strong team culture and implementing fast transitional football. However, he can't achieve that without the right structure and tools in place to support him. And now, before I move on to the next comments, I think that's a good chunk of... So, patience, stability, anything you guys want to say about that? I mean, first of all, I fully agree with you guys. And I will say that I feel like it's positive that it seems like Solskjaer has been promised a degree of stability and at least a big chunk of time to work within. And I think that is good.
I mean, if you watched my interview with Egil, that's definitely something
I did. It was a great interview
to him.
I mean, he's been promised that, but I'm sure Giovanni was promised that as well.
Yeah. You hope that there's. It's a new actor though. If you can do one good thing.
I mean, how can you promise somebody to give them time if you fuck off yourself after 5 months?
Yeah. No, I think he has to see that promise out. We need, and frankly, how much worse could the results get? No, I think let him see his time out. Let him try this project, right? We need some stability for sure. Edim Ghoul, we are patient about Solskjaer, of course. Wait, no, I skipped. There was an Onuachu. Here we go. Mustafa Gedik. I am also against the transfer of Paul Onuachu.
Oof.
He is too slow for Ole's game plan. So I hand that to you, Khan. I'm sure you have a response.
I don't know if he's too slow for Ole's game plan. I don't think he's that slow, honestly. He's pretty deceptively quick for his height. Of course, he's not gonna be, he's not a speedster by any stretch of the imagination. He's somebody you wanna find in the box. He's somebody you want to give the ball in the box, whether it's a high cross or a low cross. He's also 30 years old. If you can bring somebody younger, so for example, Romelu from Göztepe, and I know that's been debunked, but that is probably more ideal because he's 23, he's quick, he's tall, he's strong, he's good with the ball at his feet. In an ideal world, you'd sign someone like that, but Yeah, I don't know. I think Paul Onuachu would be a good transfer for now, but again, like if you can find a younger version, for example, at Genk they have another striker, Orakadere, and he's like 197, very athletic, is a beast, good goal scorer as well. Same club that Paul Onuachu, had his best years at, by the way. There's obviously different players you can go out and find, but strikers are always going to be expensive unless you find them really early. And if you find them really early, then you have to hope that they explode like how Onuachu did at Genk. But that's not always going to be the case. So if you want to... I think a striker, like in a lot of positions you want to get... We are in a place where supposedly we're going to be doing a lot of buying, improving, then selling. But some positions I think you want to get somewhere close to the finished article already, and if you want to play for trophies, I think your striker is really, really important. So I don't know if you want to bank on a guy that's maybe going to explode then. I like Paul.
Yeah, you kind of striker is one area. Sorry, Con. You're right.
No, it's fine.
And yeah, I think striker is one position where taking risks, given the where we are as a club, is maybe not a great idea. And I think we've had great success finding players who have not gone under the radar, right? Who have had pretty successful careers, but like I think of a Gomez or a Demba Ba, or
if you're going to be playing predominantly on the opponent's side of the pitch, I don't think your striker needs to be lightning quick. I think your wingers need to be quick. I don't think your striker needs to be that fast. I don't know how you feel about it, Karta, but do you think that Ole needs a fast striker?
I mean, I don't think you need a fast striker, man. No, as long as they've got energy and they can run, that should be it.
And the discipline to kind of maintain, the press, the high press.
Yeah, you don't need to be fast per se to do a pressing game, as long as they've got energy.
It's mental, right? Yeah.
He's also not slow. Remember his goal against us in the cup? He crossed half the pitch.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
yeah. Sorry, I was laughing at Tin's comment there. We'll get to it in a moment. So, yeah, that was Mustafa. Edim Gul, we are patient about Solskjaer. So this is in response to Nasser. We are patient about Solskjaer, of course. He's a very good coach, but if you don't give him a good team, nobody can achieve something with these junkyard... and he leaves it there, but I think you need a noun. Junkyard dogs. Although you kind of want junkyard dogs, right? Those are tough.
Yeah, they're
so
gritty.
No, without these junkyard items, without the junk. Yeah, without this junk, you can say. And there's no doubt. We got to give Ole the time and the squad, just as probably Gio deserved it and never got it, but that's past. Mustafa, Galatasaray is the worst thing that happened to our league. They are obviously cheating, but as it has been like this for years, fans don't react enough. They have gotten used to it. I think that's sort of informational for us there, because we all know that, obviously. And yeah, I mean, Galatasaray, it's the worst thing that's happened to most of us, not just Turkish football. Maybe that's a little dramatic. Umar Gunal, Mustafa Kadik, the people that are supposed to stop the injustice are Galatasaray fans and supporters, so don't get your hopes up. Yeah, I mean, that's been the case too often, where someone from Galatasaray has headed the FA. That's actually not the case now, but somehow it's just as bad. Edim Gould says, Cengiz plays 2 games and then he's gone for 4. Yeah. That's why it's not. I mean, maybe between he and Rashica we can get,
Yeah, if they can cover each other's gaps,
yeah. Just hope they get injured, concurrently or whatever. Atil Jan, unfortunately, I'm about to agree with this man. He says, no offense, Atil. I tend to agree with you, but you know what I mean. Just I don't.
Of
course, it's a negative thought, but I agree. Yeah. He says, this is such a poor first transfer because I feel most of the fan base is pretty much bought in on the Ole Nordic direction. Well, as said, we have no time to waste on transfers. How is this the first one? I
don't get it either.
And we know that. I think we can basically say that we know that he didn't make this call, Ole himself, because it doesn't match his. It doesn't check any of the boxes he looks for. But here we are. I mean, let's see if it happens first. Mustafa says, Adala has raised the expectations, and now we have learned that we are interested in Ünder. As a fan, I'm really disappointed. Yeah, I mean, following along with what Atil said, yeah, agreed. Then he says, I would say most of the journalists don't have many ties in the club. Oh, yeah, this was about what we already did this one. Umar says, if Cengiz plays 2 games, we are lucky, because Adam said if he plays 2 games, then he misses 4. And then, I wrote the dick bomb thing because, Umar said that I'm the only one that called it dick bombs. We had another group chat going for, I mean, they're still running it over there, but where that was commonplace, but it didn't move to ours. So, yeah, maybe I sound like a crazy person, but there were others, I swear, dozens.
Sure, I can confirm.
Thank you, Khan. Umar Gunnar says half of the wages of a player that can't complete 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Half of our wages of a player. Half of the wages.
We're
paying half of the wages of Ünder, who can't complete 90 minutes. Amazing. Yeah, it is amazing. If by amazing you mean the opposite. And I'm sure you meant that ironically. So, yeah. Nasser says, first time tuning in, this is a fantastic podcast. I appreciate how you take the time to read the comments. It makes us feel so engaged and involved. And yeah, man, we appreciate the comments, Nasser. Keep them coming.
We appreciate the support and the following and the subscribing. So, yeah.
That's right.
Consider joining our WhatsApp group chat to keep the conversation going the entire day. We have people from all over the world. The guys from Australia, they're already active in the morning. The guys from the States are active in the evenings. And us in Europe, we're sprinkled in between. So head to patreon.com/BeşiktaşPodcast if you become a free member. Or you could try out our paid membership for free as well for 7 days and become a paid subscriber. And then you get more podcasts. But you can just become a free member. And if you become a free member, there's a pinned post with the WhatsApp invite link, so you don't have to pay anything. You just go onto our Patreon page, click that pinned post's link once you're a member, and then you can join our WhatsApp group, and we're talking in there all day, every day. Not just us, but like loads of people that you see in the comments here, like Ömer, like Atil Can, and Grey Wolf is there now as well, and some people that aren't. Maybe some other people that are under different names here. I don't know, but like loads of people are in there. The Vigilant Turk, I saw he signed up for Patreon, so maybe he's the anonymous.
Ooh, we found him.
Or she. I don't know. I'm not gonna. It could be a Vigilant.
Maybe they just want to be vigilant and analyze the group before they make themselves known.
Maybe it's that would be vigilant. On the other hand, it could be not a he, she, but rather an it, and it's like a crypto bot. So that's the other option.
Yes, possible.
Next, we've got Nasser. I think we just did Nasser. Vigilante Turk. It's from. Oh, interesting. So the Incham stuff is from BN Sports Turkey, which could be legit. Mustafa Gedik says, where do you guys find Beşiktaş jerseys in foreign countries? Khan, how about we plug our man, the Kartalyuvasa.eu.
You know what? I'll bring up Kartalyuvasa.eu. I can go over there if you want. So Kartalyuvasa.eu. It's not going to show up entirely, but if you see here, so they have lots of stuff. This is Kartalyuvasa.eu. So if you're not, this is now in Dutch for me, but like you can change the language at the top. So I'll change it to English.
Well, there's a little English.
Here's English.
Turkish.
And you can just buy all the stuff here, guys. Oh, is the new stuff on there? Let's see what they have in stock now. New arrivals. So the new arrivals are still this. So they don't have the new red shirt yet, but they have this one. They have the Atatürk shirt. So they ship worldwide. Kartalyuvasa.eu. They're great websites. If you're outside of Turkey, you can get your gear here. and you see here kids costumes, female shirts, the basketball jerseys, I should say. Yeah, lots of stuff, man. Like, they have everything on here. They also have, of course, the Adidas stuff. Where's that? Just gonna check.
I have like thoroughly funded the cartalivasa.eu this year. I'm their favorite customer.
You're definitely one of their big customers. So here, you see the prices here as well. So they're actually priced pretty competitively with the shirts in Turkey, because the shirts in Turkey are 3,000 lira, I think, which is like 85 euros or something along those lines. So they're 5-ish euros more expensive. They only have these 3 in stock at the moment, it seems, though. Or am I looking wrong?
Interesting. They have the green women's one. I should get that for my wife.
Or am I? I don't know. Anyway, go to cartalivasa.eu to get your shirts. But they should be getting in the new retro shirt long sleeve versions and the red ones soon. So if you want to order those, you might be better off waiting a couple more days. But if you're just looking to get this is actually one of my favorites of the last couple of years. This is an Adidas Originals jacket. I really love it. It's I have 3 or 4 of these because I love it so much. So highly recommend signing. It's also really good for if it's like colder outside. You just pull it up. You have a long, little turtleneck. So highly recommend.
Cans like Recep İvedik, man, just got tons of the same clothes.
I do. I have like 10 just plain black V-neck T-shirts in my clset, and I have like
That's great.
I wear the same. I wear the same clothes every day, essentially. But I do change them up from time to time.
Have you seen Recep İvedik?
I know who he is, but
I know of it. I haven't seen it because
basically, because he always wears the same clothes in the film. Like at one point in one of the films, like they ask him,
he's the guy with the unibrow, right?
Yeah, and like the red blazer kind of thing, right? Not blazer.
Isn't that him? Isn't he the one with the unibrow?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the fat guy, right? You calling me fat, bro?
No!
It's not that, man. It's that you always wear you get multiple of the same clothes because he always wears the same fit. They ask him in the film, is that always the same shirt and trousers you wear?
Yeah.
And he opens his wardrobe, it's just like full of the same shirt and the trousers as well.
Yeah.
Guys, Jason just said he saw Talisca in the Fener kit.
Good for Talisca. Good for him. Good for his bank account. Shall we continue with the comments?
Yeah, God, that's mildly disturbing. Okay. You know what? Fuck it. I didn't even want him. He can go to hell.
Want me to bring it up on the screen so you can see it?
Not yet. I don't. Hold on. Let me get these comments. We'll get to maybe we'll get to that comment. So that was Mustafa Gedik, and then Koderhan says #Fikret Orman Yuvaya. Nasser bringing in. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, especially at this rate. Nasser bringing in chief scouts from Bayern Munich and Dortmund is a big move. So hopefully they can unearth some talented players. Yeah, we're all hoping for that. Nasser. Atil, I think it's good to touch on sporting directors in Turkey for those who are new. It's not really a thing like in other European leagues. Khan, do you want to touch on that?
Oh, it's true. Yeah, I mean, in Turkey, it's.
He continues. Actually, let me finish his comment. Actually, you're right. It's a newer concept / operation for our league. We've not been great thus far. Essentially, our 2 recent sporting directors have been Ceyhun Kazanca and Brad Friedel. Kinda. He was also another not sporting director, right? But sorry. Now, Khan. Now I'll give you the mic.
No, it's we have a similar system as in Barcelona and Real Madrid, and I think what that brings with it is that you often have people who are in political positions at the club who want the spotlight on them, and that's just why sporting directors aren't usually the go-to way. The smaller clubs do use sporting directors. Kasımpaşa for years, I think, have had Serkan Recber as their sporting director. And smaller clubs do use them, but the big ones, they have businessmen who want to put themselves in the spotlight, and for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Usually for worse.
Yeah, it's probably all the history. Yeah, that covers it. Atil says, "Hell yeah, good shot, Sion. That was the New York homage shown by Rocky." Yeah, exactly. I think he was making an homage to the Cold Crush crew or whatever it was. Tin says, "From what I've seen, we're looking for a young left winger and a left back from the top 5 leagues. So probably injury-prone, quote-unquote, wonder kids like Ansu Fati." And then Umer writes, "Ansu Hospital Fati." And I think, was it Cartel or no, Khan? You put up the tweet, right, where it said we were looking for a foreign left wing, left back, and
I don't know if they're going to
the
be from the top 5 leagues, though. I don't know about that. I would
what was
imagine,
the third one, by the way? I forgot. It was
left winger,
left back,
and a domestic winger is what it said as well.
Domestic
but,
winger.
I mean, if you bring in Cengiz Ünder, I don't think you have to go, because which domestic winger are you going to bring in?
No, Cengiz Ünder, I think.
The next John Kellish. No, okay.
Yeah, the next John.
Jason, I'm still hearing Casemiro rumors. I hope this is fake. This guy has no legs.
Emirhan Demircan from Bayern München too. And actually, I'll bring up, I think Yais Sabuncuoğlu tweeted about that, because that might be the domestic winger, because obviously he has a Turkish passport. I'm just gonna look if I can find his tweets. Keep reading in the meantime, and I'll. Do you have the comments up for yourself, or does it?
Yeah, I have them.
Okay, so if I switch screen, it doesn't do anything wrong for you.
No, we're
right?
good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. We're good.
I'm just trying to look for this.
So yeah, Yasin says, I talked with a Newcastle fan about Semi, and he'd be a poor fit for them. We're talking about the Semi transfer when we were doing that. Before we go back to there, as far as Casemiro goes, someone was talking yesterday in the group chat about how Emre Belözoğlu has the most punchable face, and not for better or worse. And I don't actually know if Casemiro is not a nice guy, but I always thought he had one of the more punchable faces in the world of football, next to Garnacho. And sorry, Nasser, I know you're a Man U fan, but just those two have especially punchable faces for some reason. I have no beef with. In fact, I love Amad Diallo. I have no beef with Man U. It's just those two individuals are especially punchable.
Casemiro's just got a very fat face. He looks fat.
I know. It would be like a fun one to punch, kind of. It's like a soft, pillowy punch. No, sorry, that's harsh.
Maybe we're watching these. It's from Emirhan Demircan, by the way, in the Regionale Liga in Germany. 5 goals, 4 assists this season, I think.
Maybe the next Kenan Yildiz.
Hopefully. If we can buy him, hopefully.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't give a shit. All right, we got a little finish there.
The only question is, does this guy, if you bring him in now, he's probably not going to give you an instant impact. That's the thing.
No, I mean, this is a 19-year-old kid, and he's playing at a very low level at the moment, right? So you have to wonder as well. This is the regional leagues in Germany, so yeah.
I mean, some of these skills would translate if you can guarantee that that's what he does.
I mean, Turkish football, the Super League has thrived in the past on signing young players from Germany like this. Cenk Tosun is a good example. Olcay Şahan is a good example. Tayfur Havucu, go all the way back. Mustafa Doğan for Fenerbahçe. You have so many of them, but the thing as well, you have, for all those successes, you also have players like if you remember Oğuzhan Aydoğan. Don't know if you remember him. It was a kid that we signed from Dortmund, and I don't think he ever really played for us. So
didn't pan out at all.
I mean, I'm just trying to. Sorry.
And the handsome man, what was it?
Oh yeah, what was his name again? Muhayyer Oktay, or was that it?
Oh yeah, Muhayyer. Yeah.
That's it. Exactly. And the handsome reference comes from Fikret Orman. You see the guys. He's not a very good looking guy, man. But when we signed him, Fikret Orman referred to him as Yakışıklı, which means handsome in Turkish. That's where that reference comes from.
Young lad, yeah. Beşiktaş made a transfer for Emirhan Demircan, it says here, by the way, and this was from Yais Sabuncuoğlu, so he might be the domestic, well, not domestic, but Turkish winger.
Continuing with the chat, we've got back to the semi conversation. So Jason said I talked with a Newcastle fan about semi, and it'd be a poor fit for them. And then Nasser says, I think Semi should stay at Beşiktaş. I believe Ole can get the best out of him. He should be sold in the summer window. We need depth now. One injury, and we could be without a striker or a winger. Unless, as Sinan mentioned, there's a very good offer, then it's definitely worth considering. Yeah, because just given the amount of money one could get for him, theoretically, you could bring in a lot of pieces we need. All of them. Tin, we might get relegated this season, but also win the UEFA title at the same time. I don't think we're going to get relegated, but I'd love to win the Europa League. That'd be fun.
I think neither will happen.
No,
I would say
think
that's probably neither.
We already have way too many points, and I think we aren't losing enough to relegate. Murat Özcan, by the way, also said that he wouldn't be surprised if the Emirhan Demircan transfer is completed or is already finished, essentially. So that's what he said during his live show earlier today, but this is like a 3-hour-old tweet, so, take it.
I wonder if he's the domestic winger that was previous.
Maybe that would make sense, I guess. Maybe also
Mustafa.
I also want to bring this one up though. This is from Mustafa Karataş. Why the hell is it not showing the name on there? Let me just fix that.
Sort of cut up at the top, right?
Yeah, I mean, I cropped it like that, but that's not. I want to. Yeah. But yeah.
Valentin Barco.
So this is from Mustafa Karataş. He's also a young and upcoming journalist that I would probably add to that list of people that are worth keeping an eye on. Like, Ertan Süzgün, Sercan Dikme, Murat Özcan, I think are kind of the guys that you want to keep an eye on. And this Mustafa Karataş, and then there's Mustafa Korkusuz as well, I guess. But Mustafa Karataş definitely worth keeping tabs on what he's saying. And he says that Beşiktaş are interested in this 20-year-old left back, Valentin Barco.
Under one of the FIFA last year or the year before, because I actually signed him to Beşiktaş in one of the games.
Really?
Okay.
Small world.
I'll where does he play? Because I don't quite know, honestly.
Like maybe Boca Juniors or never played.
Oh yeah, it is Boca Juniors because you can see it on the shirt actually. See,
it looked like it, yeah. The yellow and blue there.
It's a Boca shirt.
Ah, so, there you go.
Yeah,
there it is. I mean, certainly it's a nice pedigree. Moving on. So we've got Tin, we might not get relegated. Mustafa Gadik says 2016-17 Abubakar is exactly what we need right now. I think I had made a joke that that's what we could get. The bug of this league is Edim Gul. The bug of this league is that a great striker is needed. A great striker makes a champion in this league, and I don't think Onuachu is a striker like that. So that's a follow-up to what you were saying, Khan, earlier.
Yeah.
You want to rebut, or shall we keep it moving?
No, it's fine. Also here, by the way, Sercan Dikme's tweet that Beşiktaş supposedly have a 6 million option to buy in Cengiz Ünder's contract if they like his performance.
So is this official? Like
No, this is not official, but this is a dick bomb, Sinan.
Just a dick bomb.
Just a dick bomb.
Just a dick bomb.
Just a classic dick bomb.
Continuing. Seriously, like the new classic, neo classic. Umer Gunnar Khan won't like this, but Piatek is there.
Piatek
is there. He wants to prove himself. He is trying to revive his career, and he's banging in goals.
How old is he?
And Khan. So if you don't know, if you lack the reference here, so in the group chat, in the WhatsApp group chat, Umer and Khan have been. Man, the light is like bouncing off my face.
You got
anyway, they've been debating the this Polish striker for a while.
I just don't think that because he's performing at Başakşehir, I don't think that's necessarily gonna translate to Beşiktaş, because I've seen in the last 25 years so many strikers score a fuck ton of goals for mid-table clubs in Turkey, and then they get a big move and they do fuck all. Fernandao, Makukula, he never got that move, but Okan Yilmaz, Safir Biriol, there's so many that got the move, then there's so many that didn't get the move. Like Atif Sheshu wasn't a striker, but still a player that scored 20 plus goals or something as a midfielder, as an attacking midfielder. But then when they make that move to a top club, it doesn't translate. Piontek is 29, by the way. And I mean, just the fact that he was really good for a really short
Omer's
time.
already said 29-year-old, same age as Mario Gomez when he came to us.
Yeah, but the difference is Mario Gomez was a Champions League winner, a German international. Krzysztof Piontek isn't even a starter for Poland. Okay, it's understandable. They have Lewandowski. But like this guy, you can't forget, other than he started scoring last year for Başakşehir. Before Çağdaş came, he wasn't doing shit. And then before that, he had 6 years where he hadn't done shit. He was really good when he was just showing up at AC Milan, and then he fell off completely for half a decade. And there's a reason why he's playing for Başakşehir now. Because he couldn't cut it at Hertha BSC, he couldn't cut it in any of the clubs since. He had small revitalizations of his career, and then he'd fall off again. I know he's doing really good for Başakşehir right now, but realistically, if you wanted to get him from Başakşehir, you'd have to cough up a decent amount of money. He'd get a big contract. I just don't see how that makes sense for us. And you don't even know if it's gonna translate to a step up, because don't kid yourself. There's a massive difference between playing for Başakşehir and playing for Beşiktaş. There's actual tangible pressure at Beşiktaş. You don't get 6 months to start scoring, and you sure as hell don't get that understanding from people in and around the team. I just don't see it as being a good move, and the track record as well. It's just not good, and he'd cost a lot.
Plus Gomez was 30 when he came, not 29.
But Ciro Immobile, no, he was actually 29 when he came, and then he turned 30 a few days later, I think.
That's basically 30, man.
Yeah, of course. But I bet if you put Ciro Immobile and Başakşehir right now, he scores you a ton of goals as well. It's just different, man. Playing for Başakşehir than playing for Beşiktaş. Teams against Başakşehir don't play low blocks like they do against us. Those are usually way more open games because the other teams believe they can get something. And against us, they know if they open up, they're fucked. Even if we're shit. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean Piontek wouldn't do well, by the way. I'm not saying he couldn't. I just think it's not. I think the benefits, the chances of it are too small to take that punt. I think it would be an expensive transfer because Başakşehir aren't gonna let us have it for 2 million. Let's have a look at how his contract is.
Next comment, and this is going to spur conversation too. Man, this might be the episode that never ends at this point. I hope it's not too late for you guys. Nasser says, are there any youth academy players you'd consider promoting to the first team? Ole promoted 18 academy players during his time at Man U. He's someone who values and nurtures young talent. And I'll say, supposedly we have a really good young keeper in, was it Emir Yaşar or something like that, right? We've got
Göktuğ is supposed to be pretty good as well.
Yeah, Göktuğ. So we have a lot of good keepers.
You have Adnan, the young striker. Adnan, you have Kerim Ay, who's a good attacking midfielder.
Who was the guy that you talked about last week, Khan?
I think it was Adnan. Probably, or Kerim Ay, I don't remember. Fatih Kerim Ay?
Maybe it was
Kerim
Ay, yeah. Kerim Ay, I think, yeah.
There's kids there, but I think what they lack is professional football minutes. Look at Demir Ege now. He's going out on loan to Rio Ave, I think, and he's having a good season in Portugal because he's finally getting consistent minutes. The problem is at Beşiktaş you can't get those consistent minutes. And that's why I really have been saying for years, and I feel I'm not gonna do the entire spiel again because had this rant a million times on this podcast, but we really urgently need a way to give these 18, 19-year-olds a chance to play professionally, maybe at a second division level, maybe at a first division level abroad, but we need to find something like that. So these kids can... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. It's Finnish Kebab actually has someone. He said, Polish scout I'm not going to pronounce that one. Whatever. Hyped Adnan Karahisa on X.
Yeah.
19-year-old striker from our academy, I think.
Yeah.
He compares him to Luke de Jong, which could be nice.
He's a good player that's a good pivot, actually. Something Kafta really likes. He's a good pivot striker. Yeah. But
is it good enough to take that
exactly?
To the 18? Probably not just now.
That's the question. That's the question, because the level of the academy is so low because they're just playing at other academies. And at that age, 18, 19, you don't need to be playing academy football anymore. In the Premier League, they have the reserve league and stuff like that, which is not a fantastic level either, but it's better than playing against a bunch of kids all the time. I think once you get to that under 19 level, you need to take that next step already. And like, for example, in Belgium and in the Netherlands and in Portugal and lots of different countries, they have a system where the big clubs have a sort of B team that plays in the second division or in the third division, and kids get very valuable experience there. And a lot of them make it pro, because right now, from our academy, from Fenerbahçe's academy, from Galatasaray's academy, a lot of those kids don't even ever really go full pro, because they just drop off. They turn 20, 21, 22, 23. They get, their contracts don't get extended, and then they end up in the amateur leagues, or like the really low.
My wife's cousin played for Beşiktaş, man, the youth level. I don't know if I told you guys that.
I don't. You might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, but my Guzda's cousin, my wife's cousin, played for our youth academy. And then apparently he wasn't always on his best behaviour.
Or was he on the dating sites in his Beşiktaş outfit?
I don't know about that, but apparently he was too interested in the ladies. It didn't really work.
I mean, that's understandable at that age as well, but
last I knew, he was playing for some amateur side.
Yeah. And that's what happens with a lot of these kids. And if you get these kids at 18, 19, and you get them playing Birinci League football, and they're playing against real men week in, week out, your wife's cousin either gets cut a lot earlier, or he probably has a pro career.
Maybe that motivates
somebody was talking about that podcast that Ryan Babel did the other day. In a group chat, and they were talking about the Ajax Academy and how brutal the Ajax Academy really is. Like after every year, like there's cuts being made. Like everyone's on review, and if you didn't have a good enough season, you get let go. If you look in the Netherlands, a lot of players, like take for example Jermaine Lens, never played a single minute in his life for Ajax, but he did play in the Ajax Academy. And you have a lot of players in the Netherlands who are coming out of the Ajax Academy when they were under 14, under 13, under 15, but then they were cut at one point or another, and then they end up in some other academy, in AZ, or in Twente, or in PSV, or in Feyenoord even. They end up everywhere across the country. In Turkey, I feel like we are too... Yeah, these kids usually are allowed to just go all the way and then get cut later. Like, we need to be a little bit more ruthless if we want to be better, honestly. That's why Ajax have the ridiculously high standards of academy products that they have, and we have a ridiculously low standard.
That's why they keep producing talents. Next up, Edim Gul. What about Beşiktaş, or what about the Beşiktaş Super App? Can you guys still not use the app outside of Turkey? And in answer to your question, Edim, no, we cannot. We cannot use the app.
No,
still.
Yes, we can. If you have a Turkish ID number, so if you have a TC Kimlik, you can now register with a foreign phone number. All you need is a TC Kimlik, but if you don't have a TC Kimlik, you cannot use the Super app. So,
which is me.
I'm on the Super app.
yeah,
Canon, Sinan,
Kaftal is on the Super app. I do not have a TC Kimlik. Sinan does not either. So
Neither
neither
do I,
of us
yeah.
are on. I'm planning on getting my TC Kimlik because otherwise I can't become a Congress member. You need that for that as well. Which I think,
I think that's a stupid thing, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I think so as well.
Who says that people that love our club need to be Turkish, man?
I agree.
I know we're trying to be an international club, man. Like, what the hell is that? Yeah,
but that is still that's because our club is still stuck in the
past.
1900s, in the past. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's all stuff that is going to have to evolve eventually. Maybe the Super app now is going to open up some eyes because they're missing out on a lot of potential paid app users. Because
the one app, at least.
Yeah, the app has a 1,800 lira a year, which is how much is 1,800 lira? Let's see, 1,800 divided by 38. So it's 68 euros, give or take. So let's call it 70 even. I think there's a lot of us Beşiktaş fans out there, born in Germany, born in Australia, born in the United States, Netherlands, Belgium, France, you name it, don't have a Turkish citizenship because, quite frankly, you don't need it. Because if you're coming from those countries, you go in, you fly into Turkey, you pay, 20 euros for a visa? Once you're at the airport?
Free.
Is it free? Oh, it's even free. See, you don't need the TC Kimlik, and the only thing, what does the TC Kimlik get you? It gets you.
To live in Turkey, you need to either get residency.
Yeah, if you want to live there, but
or you need that.
Yeah, but if you want to live there, but let's say you live abroad, so the only thing it gets you is getting hassled by the army to do your army service, or to pay up or to pay up thousands of euros to get out of your army service, right?
It does have its like pros as well. Like,
what's the pros? What's the pros?
Exactly. See, when I get married 3 years ago in June, it would have been a lot more difficult if I wasn't a Turkish citizen. The fact that I was a Turkish citizen made it straightforward.
So it's easier to marry a Turkish woman, you mean?
Yeah. Like, see, if I wasn't a they even said, "Oh, we
not
won't
a problem for Sinan and I'm afraid."
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not
obviously
too late. That ship sailed.
But Kathal, how many Turks living abroad, born and raised abroad, are going to meet a nice Turkish girl like Gözde, who's coincidentally in that country on a work visa? Like, that doesn't happen a lot. I don't think your situation is very common. I think a lot of
it's just as a pro, like that.
Yeah, it is a pro, easier. But it's a very niche pro, It's not it's not a big con like having to pay. How much euros is it to get out of your army service now? Like, they're raising it to 5,000 or something, or 8,000.
5,000.
Yeah, 5,000 euros. That's a decent chunk of change.
Yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, there's not that many pros to it. I mean, obviously the big pros, you can sign up for the BJK Super app.
Exactly.
That's one. That's the first one that I've.
And you can become a Congress member. But like for me and Sinan,
or order from Cartel.
It's easy for us to get Turkish citizenship. We just have to go to the consulate and we have to ask for it and we can get it. It's not hard. But what if you're? I mean, I don't want to assume here, Nasser, but let's say hypothetically you're not Turkish. I don't know if you are or if you aren't. Let's say you're not. Like, for you to get a Turkish passport, it's much more difficult. I think you need to own land in Turkey or something to be able to get it. And then you, theoretically, even if you have been supporting Beşiktaş since you were in the crib, you will never be able to become a Congress member, which is ridiculous, I think. So in that regard, I think Katel has a good point that they need to remove that requirement, and they need to remove the requirement to be able to use the Beşiktaş Super app, especially because they're missing out on a lot of money. Because how, out of 100 diaspora Turks who are born and raised abroad, how many out of those 100 have a Turkish ID? maybe 50%, maybe 60%, maybe 70%. But then still, there's too many that you're missing out of potential people that would sign up for your app and would actually would gladly pay the €70 a year. So it's unfortunate. But long story short, yes, we can sign up to the Super App abroad now.
Sort of. With a caveat.
With a caveat.
Have you seen-
My God, Sally Kalkovan, you're about to get kicked from the chat, man, with your politics.
What did he say? Is he talking Trump shit again?
What do you think about Trump raising tariffs on Colombia? I think it's stupid. I like coffee. I'm gonna have to spend more for it. He's a dickhead. Anyway, moving on from the troll. Where were we? What about Beşiktaş Super App? There we go. Jason says, I just saw Talisca in their kit.
I love how he wrote Talisca with like little asterisks as well.
Yeah, like as if it was a curse.
Like
that was
a curse
clever.
word. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Mustafa Gedik, to be honest, I'm happy to see Talisca back in our league. Are you? I could say that's the exact opposite of how I feel. I wish I had never had to see him again. Although one caveat to that is I'm glad he went to Fener so that our fans can stop putting him on a pedestal and putting up these stupid little videos of him in slow-mo, in our shirt and all that stuff. I'm tired of seeing him. I hope we never hear another damn rumor about him joining our club again.
To me, this is like a really bad sequel to a really good movie. To me, it does not spoil how much I enjoy the original.
For me, man, I didn't want Talisca back.
Me neither.
Nope.
But seeing those photos, it does upset me, man. I'm not going to lie.
I understand
it stings in my heart. It stings in my heart because as much as I think the guy has a lot of deficiencies in his game, and there's a good chance he's not even that same player he was when he first came to us when he was 22 years old.
Yeah.
But the guy's still so many nice moments with that guy in a Beşiktaş shirt. To see him in a Fenerbahçe shirt, man, is
the things
I wouldn't say heartbreaking.
The things he was good at, he was phenomenal at.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, he was exceptional at he had, like you said, clear deficiencies in his game, but the things he was really good at, he was like world class, maybe even. Yeah.
Great, phenomenal foul winner, decent dribbler, which was I think one of his underrated attributes. World class shooting, world class heading.
Yeah.
World class instinct as well. Just knew when to
his runs. I mean, if Semi could learn from those runs.
Yeah.
He should just watch. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should lock him up in a room and just rewatch all of the 2016-17 and 2017-18 games in which Talisca played, and just force Semi with like his eyes pried open with toothpicks and stuff like Ren and Stimpy to watch those matches until he learns how to.
No,
make
that was
runs.
From what movie is that with the Stanley Kubrick film?
I'm sure they did it in Ren and Stimpy, bro.
No, but the Ren and Stimpy was based on the Stanley Kubrick film.
But Ren and Stimpy's cooler.
Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
They do that. It's like a torture thing where they like force these people to watch these disgusting. Anyway, it's a film reference. Moving on. Mustafa Gedik, he's happy. We talked about that. Umar Gunal. Garnacho is annoying to look at. Yeah, very punchable face.
Why is that?
He continues that up. Because I had said he was punchable when we were talking about.
Okay.
Punchable face. Casemiro.
I wish these had timestamps, man. These chats.
I know. That's why I gotta jump in with these comments faster. I guess. I don't want to burst your bubble, but if he was good, Bayern wouldn't let him leave from their youth team. Yeah, I don't know if that's.
Well, I mean, Frankfurt let Cenk leave, right? Like, that's not always true. That could be true.
Or Leverkusen let Guven Yalchin. This is what Jason said. Don't forget the legend, Guven Yalchin. That's right. Yeah, it could happen. We could get another Guven. Like that would be the end all be all scouting. Or another who was the little John Bozdogan? I still feel like we should have given him a better shake.
Do you see Tins coming there?
He says Emirhan Demircan scored a goal against Galatasaray under-19s and celebrated quite heavily. Instant approval from me. Yes, that's always instant points for sure.
I watched an interview the other day with a young Turkish gurbetçi who plays in Germany. I don't remember who it was. It wasn't Emirhan Demircan, I don't think. I think it was another one. But he was asked, and he was a Beşiktaş fan, but I can't remember who it was. Might have been Emirhan Demircan, but I think it was somebody else. Anyway,
maybe.
Yeah. That's the
That's
same
comment.
age as Mario Gomez comment from Ömer.
Yeah, we already did that, and then unfortunately we can't afford a Champions League winner at the moment, like Gomez. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
He's like sort of past it, maybe. Remember, it wasn't so much that we like. Gomez was. We got lucky with the variables, right? He
I was
kind of
really
a poor
surprised,
stint
by the
with
way,
Piotek.
as well,
Yeah.
with Piontek, that he is actually as small as he is, because he's only 183. I thought he was much taller because he scored so many goals with his head. Even when he was, at Milan and stuff, he scored quite a lot of headers. So I thought he would have been like 190 or something, but he's pretty small actually. But being small doesn't mean you can't score headers. Look at Cenk. Cenk is only 183 and he scored a ton of headers.
Yeah.
Rafa Silva just scored with a header, right?
He did.
Yeah. Lost him like a long time. The
Yeah.
commentators during the game even.
Jason says not Onuachu. No, sorry. Jason said crazy that Piotek cost 35 and 24 million at one point. I guess he's going through his transfer mark. And then Adam Gould says not Onuachu or Piotek. We need a different
Piontek.
striker. Whatever. There's too many different countries of names to
You
deal
should
with.
just say,
in this
I'll learn
podcast.
his name if he comes to Beşiktaş Khan. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Exactly. Otherwise, I'm going to do it wrong on purpose, just in case he joins a rival. You never know. Umer, we say this, and he goes and bangs in 2 more every week. Okay. Hey, Umer, Khan, cut it out with the Piontek talk. Just kidding. I don't really care. Tin Fadi Kadem. Yeah, that we were talking when I was seeking the names. I think of who you'd mentioned last week. Khan. Edim Gul says, I have so many friends playing for Beşiktaş's under 15, 16, and 17, and we really have so many good youths. But we need to give importance. We need to raise the significance of our academy.
Yeah.
These players need to play and train with the A team, or they just disappear.
Well, that's the thing. What I'm saying, though, I think they training with the A team isn't enough. When you're 16 and 17, training with the A team, great. When you're 18, 19, you need to start playing games and you need to play consistently, and not like Mustafa Hekimolen right now getting garbage time from time to time. No, they need to play consistently. If you look in the Netherlands, if you look at Ajax, like their talents at 18, 19, they're not playing garbage minutes in the A team. They're playing every week in the Keukendivisie, in the second division in the Netherlands. So I think this is something that was talked about a lot in the past at several points in time, of having perhaps a second team that plays in the Birinci League or in the Ikinci League, or to have an actual satellite feeder club. There was talks last year with Anatalyaspor supposedly, but that is what Beşiktaş needs, because these kids that are undoubtedly talented, they're like diamonds, and you need to polish them, and you need to cut them, and you need to make them shine, And in order to do that, they need to play professionally, not against other kids, because if kids keep playing against other kids, they're not gonna improve much more. Because this is an interesting thing. You know why a lot of football players are born in January? You know why that is?
What, Turkish players?
No, it's not just Turkish players. It's a common team, and usually really good small footballers, go and check it out. Usually really good small footballers are born in the second half of the year. And you know why that is? Because players that are born in January and February, they always have a physical advantage in the youth. Until
it's
a
like
certain
the opposite
point.
of my daughter.
until a
you
certain
join,
point.
you're the older kid in your grade.
And if
kind
you're
of, right?
like, for example, Rafa Silva is born in May, which is still relatively early in the year, but that's already like, you know, almost second half of the year. But like Quaresma, born in September, Sergen, born in October. Like the really good technical footballers are very often born in the second half of the year because their entire life in the youth ranks they have to fight because
bigger,
usually
yeah.
they're smaller and all that.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they had to hone their technical skills. Whereas, you know, kids born in the beginning of the year usually have a physical advantage over the kids born later in the year.
So the bigger kids.
So they make it higher up. But at a certain point, when you get to 18 or so, you stop having that physical edge. So then you're just playing against on a level playing field almost. So then those guys, especially, it's not the Arda Gülers of the world that need this that badly, but those 18, 19-year-old kids who are all born in January, they really, really need to be able to play against, for the first time in their lives probably, against players that have more physical ability, more experience, all that. So that is why it's so important that they don't keep playing against kids all the time.
Interesting. Nasser, and this is actually a nice sort of follow-up, says the academy at Man U was in complete disarray, or just was in disarray when Jose left. But under Ole, there was a renewed sense of hope. He prioritized youth development and tried creating a clear pathway to the first team. That would be lovely. And that could be a huge part of adding stability to the club, which relates to his next comment.
But
He says,
the
I'm still
Manchester United's academy is so much better than ours, though. Like,
yeah.
But
that doesn't mean that we couldn't incorporate it.
We have to improve
into a better job. Yeah. And then Nasser followed that up with, I'm still heartbroken over Ole's loss in the Europa League final. I really hope he can deliver silverware for you and restore stability to the club. It's what he and the club deserves. Thanks, Nasser. We hope so. We hope so. Edim Ghoul, that is ridiculous. TC Kimlik number doesn't give you anything. I would like to say so many things, but I just can't because I have to live in Turkey. I think he's agreeing that it doesn't give you anything.
Yeah.
Jason says 5,000.
5,000 euros for the army thing, but I think they're increasing. I believe they're increasing it to 8,000.
Make a little more money.
The guys were talking about it the other day.
Sadly, Trump's tariffs. Jason, Clockwork Orange. I said it already. I beat you to it. There's a little delay though today, so it's not good try. Tin says Baran Moltai. He is a left back from Dortmund and a Beşiktaş fan. And that's it. We're finally caught up on the comments.
I don't think it was him though, Tin. I think it was somebody else. It's great if Baran is as well, but I don't remember though. I saw a video on it on Twitter, but I feel like if it was Baran Moltai, I would have remembered because that's a very interesting name, you know. But yeah, we've caught up on the comments. I don't think anything new has come out since we went live. I'm looking. I don't think there's been any breaking news, so I feel like we should end the episode there.
Wrap
thank
it up.
you all for watching the Black Eagles podcast. On Thursday, there's a very important game against FC Twente in the Europa League. We need at least a point, and with a point, we will have a good chance to qualify for the next round. With a win, we are guaranteed. Tomorrow, I am interviewing a Dutch FC Twente watcher. It took me a long time to track someone down because usually I get these things done like a week in advance. Tomorrow I'm interviewing somebody and talking about FC Twente to talk about their strengths, their weaknesses, their coach's philosophy, their playing style, all that kind of stuff, their key players. So that's something that I'll be recording tomorrow. I think I'll be putting it up straight away on YouTube as well. So be sure to go and check that out tomorrow when that releases. Great important match for us, I think, for the rest of our season as well, because I think we all know the league isn't going anywhere. Maybe we'll have a good run in the cup, maybe we can defend our title there, but Europe, let's not forget, guys, a week ago, I think we all were under the assumption that Europe was over. And somehow Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival at Beşiktaş enabled us to beat one of the strongest teams in the Europa League, one of the favorites to win the Europa League. And not just beat them, but really, really beat them 4-1. A fantastic game, a fantastic night. Don't let the disappointment against Antalyaspor yesterday bring you down. Hopefully a good result on Thursday. And we will be back on Friday to talk all about that game. And hopefully we'll be able to do so with big smiles on our faces, because either we qualified or we went down swinging but played a good game. Anyway, go and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Beşiktaş podcast, and you can try out our Black Eagle VIP program for free for 7 days, and you gain access to a lot more content there. There's the weekly VIP podcast. There's the new Schwarding report with Mr. Sinan Schwarding. There's lots of extra video content. Actually, last week, Wednesday, I watched the game and recorded it, and I did a video watch along. But those are my live reactions, so if you want to go and check out how I lived that game against Athletic, you can go and check that out. And I will be planning to doing stuff like that again in the future with classic matches. I'm thinking, for example, the 3-4 win in Kadıköy with Panku in goal. I'm thinking maybe the 3-3 against Benfica. Lots and lots of classic games that there are to be watched for the watch along. But those will be exclusive to our Patreon, because YouTube would flag them and take them down. So go to our Patreon. If you want to join us in the WhatsApp community group chat that we mention all the time, also go to Patreon, become a free member, and then you can click the invite link in the pinned post. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, so the algorithm recognizes and sends this video and other videos out to lots of other Beşiktaş fans. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll hand the microphone over to Mr. Schwarting.
Ew. We have a lot of new listeners. I don't want to frighten anyone. I'm about to raise my voice, folks. Be ready. I usually try to scare you guys, do a jump scare, but with all these new listeners, be prepared. I just want to warn you. With that said, Nasser asks for a score prediction. Kartal, what do you think? What's the score against Twente?
I'm hoping 2-1 Tasman.
Khan?
2-0. To us.
Us?
0-2. 0-2.
I was going to say 2-1, but I don't want to do the same score. I'll do 1-0 then, just to have the third different score. But I was going to say 2-1. But so yeah, drop your score predictions in the, I guess probably not the live chat because we're about to close it out, but in the
the comment section,
main comments.
Do it in the
main comments. Yeah.
Even if you're live chatting, guys, if you could leave a comment, that would help us really, really well to get this video out to other people. So please, even if you're joining us in the live chat after you're finished watching, drop a comment. Let us know what you thought of the episode, but maybe also just people who come across our video for the first time, and if they scroll down and see the comments, let them know what you thought of the content. If you could make a habit out of just dropping a comment after finishing watching, that would be fantastic. It would really help us.
That's the Beşiktaş cat finish. I have two. The other one's attacking it. That's why I had to protect it. Anyway, yes, big match on Thursday. It's at 3 p.m. here in New York, which means 9 p.m. in Turkey, or 10 p.m. even. So drink your coffee. Drink your afternoon coffee in the evening.
11 in Turkey.
11?
Kingdom, 9 in Belgium.
Yeah, they're being played all at the same time to avoid shenanigans.
Wowzers. Well, so yeah, drink your evening coffee as late as you can. Khan liked my wowzers. I can see. I've never said that before. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, yeah, definitely be ready to stay up late if you're over there. For me, it's at least it's not Beşiktaş with breakfast as it has been these last couple of matches. Definitely watch. It's going to be a huge match. We have a bye week this coming week. The Super League is not off, however. It's just us. So you can get your fill of shenanigans if you're interested in it. You can hate watch our rivals.
But be sure to tune in on Friday for our post-Europa League episode.
Yes, we will be back. Yes, even though I don't know what our deal is with next week since we're not doing a match on the weekend. Maybe I'll do a Schwarting report next week just to get my my weekly therapy session out. But anyway, as always, stay tuned. We will be back on Friday post-Europa League to talk about whatever happens on Thursday. And as always, prepare yourselves. Let's go, Beşiktaş!
Here's a little
out,
Europa League transition for you.
There it is, just to prepare us. And of course, as always, thank you very much, Ozan, Dan Sabatsky, Atil, the Chicago Bull Malak, Paul O'Connor, Nathan, Mr. Denver, Mr. Colorado Davis, the Finnish Kebab, Tristan Craig, Dara, the Irishman Hensky, Mario 1 and the 2 and the 3, Vargas, where were you, senor? Niall Tariq, Seba, the not sporting director Heinoth, and of course, the indomitable, indefatigable Dutch Eagle himself, the financier. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.
Peace out. Bye-bye.